welcome to Kill the Cast. My name is Jerry, and joining me today is the ever-quotable Jay.
Look at all that young, fresh chicken. Where I come from, we call them baldies.
That is...
Makes your mouth water, don't it?
No, it does not at all, Jay. Jesus.
Well, it should, because delicious chickens are delicious.
Oh my god, if it ain't done by KFC, I ain't fucking with it. And the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth.
I prefer my chickens to be corpses.
And as a special guest, we have Alex from the Married with Children podcast and formerly of the Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, asshole. What's up?
Not much. That's the famous Alex quote. If you didn't know.
I swear to God, I'm gonna find one of his pictures on Facebook and I'm gonna make a T-shirt with him on the front and then put "yeah asshole" on the back.
Find one where he's like doing a thumbs up like a Fonzie kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm gonna do it. I swear to God, I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
yeah, asshole.
Woo! So
yeah, don't forget the woo at the end though.
Yeah, without the Ric Flair woo, it just doesn't count.
Well, I invented. No, I guess I couldn't have. No, never mind.
Yeah, you stole it from Ric Flair. But it's okay. He'll be dead soon. Jay, how you been, man?
Pretty awesome. I got this new mic for my birthday, so now I'm on the same level as you guys.
Stepping up in the world.
Been making those YouTube videos. I feel super fancy having this swing arm above my monitor with a microphone and a pop filter in front of it. I feel super professional.
Well, I always thought you were super professional in porno.
Well, yeah, my hands are soft.
And Kenneth, how you been?
I've been all right. A little sad recently because Vinnie Paul died from Pantera, Damage Plan, and Hell Yeah. But other than that,
Vader Time died also.
Mm.
I used to play as him in the PlayStation 1 game WWF in Your House. I did. My dad went to Japan once and he brought me back Japanese wrestling magazines, and Vader was on the front cover of them.
But yeah, so other than that, I mean, everything's been going all right.
Nice.
Well, all right. Alex, how you doing?
I'm still a legendary podcaster, but only because I'm married with children now, not so much a Skeleton Crew. It's what I've been doing on there that keeps me in that status, but I'm good.
Yeah, that show went downhill when Steve left.
Oh, yeah. Really? Well, I'm still there, so that's why the podcast is still great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you need to get another Steve guy on there.
We have a Jefferson guy now.
No, the Jefferson guy sucks. You need a Steve guy. That Steve guy you had was great.
Your legendary ego, Alex, always gives me an erection.
Yeah, I'm a total legend, sure. No, but I'm good. Let's see, what am I upset about? I'm here, so that's one thing.
That's definitely worth being upset about.
Yeah, that's about it. That's the Pantera guy is cool, but I wasn't that into them. But yeah, other than that, I'm good.
I listen to an Every Time I Die cover of a Pantera song in honor of them. I don't know if that was respectful or disrespectful, but that's what I did.
Disrespect.
Well, coming from you, Jerry, I actually find that to be respectful.
Yeah. Actually, they were when they played at Warped Tour yesterday. Someone recorded a clip saying them giving their respects to Pantera.
Yeah, because for those of us that are really hardcore in the metal community, man, damn, Pantera when they emerged, they were a game changer for the genre, because with the the alternative scene, the grunge and everything that was coming out in the 90s, metal was kind of going downhill because you had a giant shift between the hair metal and all the rest of that shit that was going, and then thrash, and then it just kind of started trickling down, and then Pantera came out with a fucking bang, and it just it was, like I said, it's a game changer, and they're major influences for a lot of us that are musicians. I've actually got a Dimebag tattoo on the back of my leg, and that was Vinny's brother. Dimebag was Vinny's brother, so it's
they're together again, man.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people's been saying is just like, you're finally able to give your brother a big hug.
So, I hope they make a band with Lemmy from Motorhead and Gigi Allen.
Dude, that would be fucking great.
Play some hard rock tunes and throw shit at the crowd at the same time.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Jacking off with your shit in front of people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do on a daily basis.
Can we just start a
Hell yeah.
Gigi Allen podcast?
That would be fucking crazy.
Anyway, so guys, we for the past couple of shows have been talking about a giveaway, but my iTunes has been fucked up. Well, I finally fixed my iTunes and got it running, so I was able to take down those names. So we're gonna do a giveaway for. I took all our iTunes peoples and I took all our Patreon peoples and I put them together. Except iTunes says we have more ratings than we're actually there. I couldn't find, there's a bunch of reviews that says we have that it won't show me. So, I don't know what's up with those. So, I only took the ones that I could see. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to put all the pressure on Alex. Alex, pick a number 1 through 15.
13.
13. That would be Joey Infante from the Horror Mafia podcast. You are winner number 1. You will be able to select one thing from our giveaway box. And now, Alex, give me another number 1 through 15, but can't be 13.
I was going to say that again. I guess then 8.
8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Master T2 on iTunes. If you're listening to this, you find a way to contact me. Facebook group, Kill the Cast. If you're not on Facebook, well, we'll figure out something. We have an email.
I was going to say, you don't have an email?
Yeah, there's links in the description for you to be able to find us and get in touch with us. So get in touch with us. In fact, actually, let me go ahead and look up our email right now so I don't fuck it up, because
I was unprepared.
Killcast13@gmail.com.
It is killcast13@gmail.com. Bam! So email us, Master T2, and we will hook you up with something from the box, unless you are working from Skynet, which makes me kind of worry because of your name. If that's the case, go fuck yourself, you piece of fucking computer taking over the world shit. I don't fuck with Skynet. Okay?
Well, they have a new movie coming out.
I know, I saw the pictures of Sarah Connor.
Yeah, that's when you say, guys, let it be.
No, I want more Terminator movies. I don't care.
If they're gonna, I just don't want them to do another one. Like, I just feel like they keep repeating the same story, just poorly each time. And I just don't. If you're gonna do it, do something crazy this time. Go all out, or go like super gritty, dark. Like, if you're gonna bring Sarah Connor back, go like super dark and gritty.
Yeah, there were like no action scenes whatsoever in Genesis. That was the most.
Yes,
And
there
it
was.
Really? Like, not majorly.
They
I
weren't
mean,
like
it's a couple
giant
moments.
set pieces like in Terminator 2, but they were
Right.
there.
Yeah,
I
I
was looking
think
for the giant set.
I thought Terminator Salvation was actually pretty damn good.
I love Salvation.
I thought it was really fucking good. And that was a different take on the story than just, you got two Terminators trying to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought it was, I actually thought, I really liked the way they went with it. And I
Right.
wish there would have been like a direct sequel to that.
Well, I always wanted immediately after like part 3 when they start taking over, and instead it seemed like that was months or years later. I don't know, man. It seemed like small scale to me, if that makes sense. Like it just wasn't a grand movie. And after you get done watching Terminator 2, you kind of expect everything to be like that is the definition of big blockbuster, big time main guy Arnold, like everything.
Yeah, but look at what
Balls
they
out.
followed it up with, man. Terminator 3 sucked.
Right. I'm not saying that was good. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of figured if you're going to go ahead and continue this, you must have some grand scheme here, right? And then it's like, no, we just have sort of a small little thing going on. And it's like, oh, okay. So
Yeah, but see,
Wow.
I like that. I like that they kind of brought it, that they kind of scaled it down a little bit. And then, when Genesis came out, they were trying to scale it back up, and they were trying to reinvent the series, like they did with X-Men, and it just didn't work. And I like the idea of the operating system. I like that. I like the idea of that, but I just don't think they did a very good job.
all right.
So, I would really like to see where they go with this new one, but I kind of agree with you on if they're going to bring us an old Sarah Connor, You know,
Yeah,
I
let's go
the fact
big here. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that, they got Linda Hamilton back, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, uh, you got to find a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Or find hair dye or something.
Maybe they'll pull a Halloween and just ignore everything and like make it a direct sequel to like Terminator 2.
They can do that. It's
That would be
fucking time
great.
travel. They can do whatever.
that would actually be really cool.
Yeah, but how's Arnold going to look young? Unless they just CGI his face, though. And I'm all for that. I don't care.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is if they do a direct sequel to Terminator 2, they don't even have to bring Arnold back. Because he fucking, got goddamn melted at the end of T2.
But I think he is coming back, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know
At this
either.
point, I'm just like, what the fuck ever, man. Yeah, but if they did a direct sequel to T2 and omitted everything else, they wouldn't even have to bring Arnold back. They could completely reinvent it from there.
Yeah.
Well, that was our Terminator talk. So, guys, this is our 50th episode, and as you saw from the title, we are doing a Horror Coliseum for Best Summer Camp Slasher, Best Summer Camp Horror Movie. We're putting The Burning versus Sleepaway Camp in a no-holds-bar, all-out hardcore battle. And we even had to bring Alex in because this was so big, we needed a fourth person to help hold this up.
I just like his voice.
What that also. I'm trying to get back on the Married with Children podcast, so I'm like, Alex, come do a show with me. Remember how great it is. Let me back on the show.
Let me tell you how big your dick is.
Yeah, I will lie to you all day.
Whatever it takes for you, dummy. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, in honor of the 50th show, we brought Alex on, who I've always said Alex is the person I feel made me a better podcast host, because listening to him on the Skeleton Crew really started shaping the way I started running Kill the Cast, which you can hear start influencing me after every show after the Phantasm show we did. Because during the Phantasm show that we did, that's when I found the Skeleton Crew, because they just so happened to put out their first Phantasm episode in their Phantasm retrospective, which was towards their tail end of the Skeleton Crew.
Right.
And I started listening to that, I started talking to him, I started learning from him, not by being like, Alex, tell me how to be a host, but instead listening to what he did, saw how he transitioned things, saw how he did things, and that's what made me a better host. And in turn,
basically riding Alex's coattails.
I rode Alex's coattails so fucking hard. And it was hard because, one, they're covered in beer and semen.
Hey, you should have slid right in then.
Oh, yeah. How do you think you didn't even notice me?
Yeah, you seamlessly slipped in. I don't know how that happened. Well, thank you. It was a long journey. I sucked when I started, definitely. And I'm glad that all that, hard work and studying my craft and everything like that really paid off. I think a lot of it was, no offense to, well, I'm not going to name their names, but hearing other podcasts and just realizing what I'm not clicking with when I hear them. And I said, a lot of these guys get on and they're just kind of bullshitting about movies they like and stuff, but they're kind of forgetting that you're supposed to be entertaining people here, and you're supposed to be like engaging them and keeping them hanging on every minute. And it's not an easy thing to do, and you can't not care about that aspect. So that was my whole approach, and I started learning that idea, and I stole a lot of my stuff from Howard Stern, actually. Like that, his whole kind of thing, I kind of took that vibe and just instilled it into what I was doing, and that's how the Skeleton Crew came to be. So I'm glad that somebody like you appreciated it, and actually, since we're done, you took it and said, let's continue on in that fashion and keep it rocking. So thanks.
Yeah, and you've been a big fan of Kill the Cast for a while, and I wanted to ask you, we're at 50 episodes, what's some of your favorite episodes we've done? I know one of them.
Yeah, I'm not good at memorizing. I mean, if I looked at your list, I wish you prepared me for this question.
No, fuck that.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know. It's like, Jesus. No, I'm sure I could zip.
This is where we know that Alex is not listening to one fucking episode of ours.
That's not fair at all, man. I cannot remember the episodes. Jesus, you gotta at least give me a list, and I can say, oh yeah, that one. Offhand, I mean, I like that Freddy Part 2 one you just did. Obviously, Psycho 3. I was obsessed with the Black Cat review for a little while. I kept playing that over and over for some odd reason.
I know, because I went back to listen to that episode, and, like, man, that's a rough start. Like, do you just skip the first 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'm sure I did eventually. Here, I gotta look up. I'm putting Kill the Cast. Is there a way to get all of your Horrorphilia? Are you still on there?
No, we left there. It just sometimes shows up still, even though it's taken off iTunes.
Oh, I'm going to Podbean then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Podbean.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
everything's on there.
thank God my computer's super fast. Oh, here we go. The Last House, The Last Horror at the End. Yeah, I like that one with.
Oh yeah, where I interviewed Watson.
Yeah, that
My
was
interview
good.
shows are fantastic.
The horror packs are good.
Wasn't Alex our first interview show?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. We were doing another movie, and I didn't like where it was going, so I was like, let's just bullshit and ask Alex questions, and that's how the interview shows started. But of course, I then started like doing them properly, and I haven't had Alex come back to do his properly.
For anybody out there that wants to know what that movie was, it was Matango.
Oh God.
One
The
day.
Wolfman. I like the Wolfman show. That cannibal one that you guys talked about. I remember that.
Oh, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
Just a rough movie to watch. The
Oh, I know.
podcast was fun as shit.
Yeah,
watched
well, just a little inside. There's going to probably be just about a rough movie that we're going to do here real soon.
I don't remember which one it is, but I'm sure it was
God.
rough.
Black Christmas.
Oh!
I like that one.
That one.
Do you still care about this answer or no?
Yes.
Yeah. I want you to fucking stroke my ego.
Let's see.
That's not what I wanted to stroke.
Oh,
How
here
do
we
you
go.
want him to stroke anything when he still has a pulse?
Oh, Best of the 80s. I liked when you did that because you were on our show. Wait, did I steal that idea from you? Did I ask you for
Yeah,
that?
you hit me
Yes,
up and
you
was
did.
like, hey, I want to do this except with the 90s. Will you come on and do it?
That way it's not so much stealing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. Just like you had Jerry on your Married with Children podcast, and
Yeah,
it made you feel better about that one too.
yeah, I sort of
And
stole
then
that.
Steve left.
But you turned it into an amazing thing. I'll give you that.
Oh, thanks, man. Horror Alien vs. The Thing was one of the standout shows that I felt, and that was after we sort of met because that was well, no, these all say March. Never mind. But that was sort
those are re-uploads, so it's not the original upload dates.
yeah, I noticed. Yeah. Creature of Black Lagoon. You probably did a better job than we did. We were very preoccupied during that show. So the Halloween review you guys did was hilarious to me. Probably not the reasons you want it to be, but it was amazing how you didn't seem to know anything about Halloween.
Yeah, we had fucked up like so many things about that movie for some reason. I don't know
That's
what
actually
the
one
fuck.
of my favorites, just because of that reason.
And I
I
think
know,
it's
it's
just because
amazing to listen to.
Yeah, it's great.
we're not as big of fans of that movie as everyone else, and like all three of us, we're not as big fans of that movie. So like we don't like so many people have that movie fucking memorized that as soon as you start talking about it, you hear them come out of the woodwork. Well, actually, they weren't really related, and that wasn't until the second movie. And since we've done that episode, I've now listened to like the Skeleton Crew re-edited version of like Banana Laser. And then
epic.
like the Jason versus Michael Myers Skeleton Crew episode. And so like
amazing.
I've learned much more about the first Halloween since then. So like I could redo it and actually know what the fuck I'm talking about now.
Oh,
yeah, I
good.
just said fuck that movie after we did that because I was just like, you know what, screw it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
none of us for some reason.
I don't like that movie enough to care.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Well,
In fact,
that's not nice.
my favorite
I
movie.
just don't, man. I mean, it's not. I said it in the podcast. It's not one of the biggest fucking movies in my damn. I own it just to own it. I don't even have it on Blu-ray. I've got it on DVD.
I have the whole thing on Blu-ray.
I've got the whole thing on DVD.
I have the whole thing on Blu-ray, but I mean, I've also got the whole thing of Nightmare on Elm Street, and we know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that says
They're
the same
your
much.
favorite movies ever.
Those
Jay,
are the worst
you better
fucking movies ever.
calm down. That series
You know
is
what?
garbage.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I know that some of you like that, or one of you. Sorry, Jack. But the thing is, like, I don't know, man. After Nightmare is good for like one is like a high school play that was filmed between the acting and the cheap sets and the cheap everything. But
Nice.
besides that, it did give us like an incredible character. I mean, like the thought of Freddy, a guy coming to you in your dreams, is probably the most amazing concept ever. And he even looks perfect and all that good stuff, and the music's perfect. But somehow it just doesn't. The movie is just bizarre, and the casting is incredibly horribly done. But besides that, like, you move on. Part 2 is just great, and then 3 is cool for people who are into that kind of thing. I'm not exactly, but then God, 4 and the rest are just fucking atrocious.
Yeah,
I mean-
Nancy is
No.
the worst thing
Ugh.
I've ever since Marshmallow Stairs. It is the worst thing.
Oh yeah, and all the hairs growing out of her moles all over her body is really creepy.
I think it's sexy.
Kenneth, that's just because it makes you think of cancer and her dying, and then you get to play with her corpse.
I actually would fuck her live.
Ugh. Really?
Oh, that's
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's just something
Oh
I
my
find
God.
odd about her.
Kenneth,
I think
you're
she's
gay.
hotter in the third one, and I think she's even hotter in New Nightmare.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Ugh.
Well, for my last answer to this, Bram Stoker's Dracula review you guys did really impressed me, and you were so enthusiastic or something about the making of. So I immediately, after I turned your show off, I went on YouTube and put it on my TV in my man cave, and I watched the making of just because of you guys. So that obviously struck a chord too. So, but I'm sure I liked a lot of other ones, but you know, a person's memory doesn't really go that far with things like that. But
Especially when 90% of your brain is used to keep married with children facts.
pretty much. Sorry, I'm a little preoccupied.
It's such an intense undertaking, man. I mean, it's just like, as I have, been witness to the progression of the Married with Children podcast, I'm like, my God. There's so much that goes into that, man. And I mean, it's just constant. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, Jesus.
Oh, by the
Oh.
way, your 15th episode was the Married with Children show you did. It was 90s sitcom Halloween specials for Christmas.
Yeah, and it was excellent.
That's one of our favorites.
So that guy's probably not listening. There's a guy recently in the Married with Children group who has been like just talking as much shit as possible on me. He was like, I can't believe Jerry didn't know what Dynasty is. I know what every pop culture reference since the 1800s is.
He literally
Actual
said that.
fucking quote from this guy.
Is that verbatim?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, he said, I know everything from 1843 or something.
Yeah, like no fucking joke. I was just
God
like,
damn.
How do you like? And he said I was very opinionated, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Come on the show and just not say anything? I don't fucking understand that. Like, what do you want from me?
To me, it seems like the dude's very good at compartmentalization.
Yeah. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, if you weren't opinionated, I would have thrown you off the show. I'd be like, okay, listen, do you have something to say here or what?
Yeah.
No.
I don't. I'm here for Steve to make Steve look good. And once Steve leaves, I'm leaving. In fact, it was so heartbreaking. I couldn't even do the Steve leaving episodes.
You didn't even get there.
I had to leave. I couldn't deal with the stress of it. I broke down from the stress of Steve leaving. Okay. I love Steve. But I came back for a Steve special episode. And if there is any crossover audience here, you're getting me back for a little bit. I'm filling in, guys. I'm bringing Steve back, even though Steve's not there.
The spirit will live on.
I'm going to cram a Steve reference in every show. All right, so let's get down to business, guys. We are here to tackle best summer camp horror movie. Now, most of the times when you think summer camp horror movies, you probably think of Friday the 13th. But you know what? Friday the 13th movies tend to always focus on the counselors, and it doesn't really focus on the kids as much. And so it feels a little less summer campy. But two
Mention
movies...
everybody and their mama does Friday the 13th.
There's also that. So we
I'll admit
decided we were going to take The Burning and put it against Sleepaway Camp. Because to me, those are the two summer camp horror movies that really feel summer campy. Is summer campy a word? It's a word now. So we're going to start with The Burning, which is from 1981, directed by Tony Maylam. Written by Peter Lawrence and Bob Weinstein. It is based on an original story by Maylam, Harvey Weinstein, and Brad Gray. With a musical score by Rick Wakeman of the progressive rock band Yes. Does anyone listen to Yes?
No.
No? Okay.
Yes.
So first, let's just get into general thoughts of The Burning. Let's let Kenneth take it away first.
God damn it.
What? You don't want to take it away? You've never been. You don't want to go to Camp Blackfoot?
I don't know.
Okay, fine. Fuck you. I'll go to Camp Blackfoot. So The Burning starts out with these kids playing a prank. It's just a prank, bro. On a.
That's how it always starts.
That's how it always starts. And they're doing it over a summer camp caretaker. Well, the prank goes horribly wrong. They set him on fucking fire, and he becomes a atrocious
To be
thing.
fair, he set
Technically,
himself on fire.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Technically, he did it.
And let me tell you, the acting of that opening scene is pretty terrible. He wakes up suddenly, but then he takes like a minute, looks at the head, and then like knocks it into his bed.
He was sleeping. Took him a minute to know what was going on.
He should, yes, and then he woke up, stared at the head, and was like, I think I'll hit it into my lap. Boop.
If I woke up and saw that, I'd just be like, well, damn, that looks pretty cool.
Kenneth, you would try to face fuck it.
Not with them candles in it, I wouldn't. I would at least take the candles out first.
Okay, fair enough. You would have
Kenneth
kept the
Cockburn.
worms in, though, right?
What?
You would have kept the worms in?
Yes, because it
Okay.
gives it a little tickle.
Yeah, and they're squishier.
Yeah, when they're trying to get away.
What if
Well,
one tried to crawl into your pee hole?
That's not how it works. Trust me.
No,
Wait.
they're gonna try. They're
Wait,
gonna try to get
no.
away. They're not catfishes from the Amazon, Alex.
Hold up, Jay. How do you know how that works?
So one time at summer camp,
You know what? Never mind. So this movie starts out with the guy burning. It's great burning effects, except for the tiny moment where you can see the guy wearing a helmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you-
you call
in
that
all
great.
of those movies, though, when people catch on fire, once it does a wide shot, you can see that it's the stunt man.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
I've ever
I-
watched a movie from the 80s where you can't see the stunt man.
I'll give slack to any kind of fire thing just because that's really hard to pull off. It takes a lot of practice and effort, so I'll cut a little slack for setting someone completely on fire.
No.
Alex, on the
Because-
other hand, demands perfection.
They could have wrapped his head in something white or peach to match a head, and maybe brown in the back to look like hair, and maybe peach hands instead of fucking black gloves and a black suit, and also shot it from 80 fucking feet away and not close-ups. Like, why would you do close-ups? That's like the last. I'd say, okay, guys, this looks like shit. Can you go stand on the freeway and shoot this? Like, I don't understand why they shot it like that, but okay, even my wife was laughing today.
But don't you feel, since it's 1981, like it's still kind of early in that effects? Like, if you compare it to effects from other movies from that time?
Listen, low budget, sure, but why not have the presence of mind to say, let's stand a little further back?
Yeah. Also, do we expect more because it's Tom Savini?
That too?
Not when
So-
it comes to a burning effect, I don't.
Hey, like I said,
Because there's a completely different team over the fucking over burning effect.
Yeah, but they might have asked him about it.
fair enough.
No, I blame
Uh,
the director. Honestly, director fault.
I'll agree.
Fair enough. So, dude gets cooked. I mean, fucking Big Mac overdone.
Yeah,
which is a
Big Macs are
fantastic-
fried, actually, not broiled, so that was a total fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know how they made McDonald's in the 80s.
You should have said Whopper.
I guess McDonald's is bigger known, so it's one of those times where they just were like, we're going with this joke instead. So we have Corpsey picking up a hooker, and this whole thing is such a fucking giallo. We
Here we
just
go.
came out of a giallo movie, but literally the lighting in this, the black gloves, The stab wound to the stomach, it is like, it is 100% them being a giallo.
I actually like the stab wound to the stomach.
I do
thought that
too.
looked pretty good.
Even though the prostitute was a horrible actress.
A lot of people are horrible actors in this movie.
I mean, unless you're paying good money for the prostitute, they generally are.
Yeah, you're not paying for girlfriend time. Hey, want to hear a really bizarre coincidence? I swear to God, this is not a joke at all.
Okay.
So, remember how, like, in this movie, the hooker says, well, I guess you could leave your hat on if you want.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I'm growing my hair right now, so it's going to be a long time before it's not an awkward stage. So, my wife wanted to have sex today. She's upstairs, so.
Okay.
And so I insisted I put a ball cap on during it because I was very self-conscious about my flailing.
Was it your Bears hat?
No, it was a Ron John surf shop hat. But so I insisted I put this on, and she goes, "Are you serious? Can you take that hat off?" And I was like, "No, just look somewhere else." And then we proceeded to have sex. So isn't that bizarre that I did this the same day I watched a movie where she says, "Well, I guess you could keep the hat on." What are the odds of that?
But I love it.
I still find it interesting that you put a hat on and told your old lady to look somewhere else. I'm kind of like, I'm just going over this scenario in my head, and
Hold
I'm
on.
like,
How
what
come,
the fuck is going on, man?
How come when he brings up having sex with his Hispanic partner, y'all aren't like, oh, pull out the video camera, let me get them pics. But when I do it, you want a full production.
Because I'm still stuck on this fact that
I have no idea what she looks
wanted
like.
to wear a hat. And damn shit, and then told his old lady to look somewhere else. I'm still like, I don't even have words for that.
Well, I've been with her for 8 years. I'm not very proper about it. Like, just
but
look
still, man, whatever, dude, whatever. You do what you got to do, bro.
So
wow.
we fast forward.
I didn't give a fuck what my hair looked like during the awkward stage. I was just happy that I was getting laid.
Yeah, see, I'm pretty considerate.
Oh my God.
I hear you.
So we jump fast forward 5 or so years. We are at Camp Stonewater, and with that, it is time to actually break down this movie using our categories. And the first one is story. So we are now going to go through and get everyone's score for story. Since Kenneth didn't want to go first, I will go first, and then I'll pass it to Kenneth. This is your heads up, Kenneth.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome. So I gave story a 6. I think it's a typical revenge story that doesn't really have a twist. And you know everything almost the entire time, and what little mystery there is, like why is he specifically doing it here? It's not really played up, and the first time I watched it, I just remember going, oh, that's how it's related. So it's not just random. Okay, sure. So it's an okay story, but nothing to me stands out. There's no real mystery that you get like when you watch like the first Friday the 13th or anything like that. So it gets just a 6 from me. Go ahead, Kenneth.
It's a 7 for pretty much the same reasons. The only reason why I give it a little bit more is because, and we're just going to go this from story point of view, not from production point of view. Because I think the kids were a little bit more fucking inventive with what they used for the scaring of the guy at the beginning. But other than that, everything else was pretty straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Kids do something stupid. Guy gets fucking goddamn fucked up. He comes back, wants revenge, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, pretty standard. All right, Alex, what was your rating?
I gave it a 7. Same reasons. Pretty typical revenge story. Not, it was almost as lackluster as Friday the 13th in that way, because the reason Friday the 13th, and I love it, but it's only in hindsight, because there's nothing really leading you to believe or even leading to the idea that Betsy Palmer is the red herring in any way, shape, or form. So it's like she just pops up out of nowhere. It's like, okay, so who are you? And why are any of the hints along the way leading to you? I don't get what we're doing. So like that's not really a great reveal of any kind until she starts telling the story. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, but what does that have to do with everything we just watched? So that's in this sense, I guess it's you at least know what you're dealing with here. And then again, just like Kenneth said, it's like, or I guess Jerry said, like once they put it together at the end, like, oh, guess what? One of those kids is this older guy. And it's like, yeah, so Cropsey knew that because why? And he happened to know he works here. Why and what's happening? So I should have probably rated it lower than a 7 based on all that. But it's a revenge story. It's whatever. It's the 80s and it's 82. So, you know.
Yeah, it's not a bad story. So I can get behind a 6. Get behind a 7. Jay, what did you rate it?
I give it a 5.
Coming in the lowest.
Yep, it's basically all the same reasons you said. It just affected it more negatively for me. It was very standard. There wasn't anything fantastical about it.
Fair enough. All right, we move into character.
Oh wait, real
go ahead.
quick.
Yeah.
It's revenge, but he's only really getting revenge on one guy out of the 5 or 6 that were there, right?
Maybe this was dude. They could have made, if they didn't kill him at the end, they could have, spoilers. They could have made like a whole series where he like went after the next guy. But I guess he only went after this guy because he's the only one who came back to a camp.
Oh, okay.
The other guys were like, I'm not going to a camp. I'm going to prostitutes, and that's why he hit the prostitute up first. But she didn't have the leads he wanted, so he went to the summer camp.
Mm.
I'm just making all this shit up.
Yeah, and see, I now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I kind of agree with Alex because I'm just like, you know, how the fuck would he even know that kid was there? He's basically been in isolation for how long?
I want to say 5 years.
Right. You know what I'm saying? While they're doing skin grafts and shit like that. So I just don't think, you know, and this was long before the age of the internet. So it's like, I just don't think that the guy would have been able to keep up with where this dude is unless he just goes back to the summer camp and recognizes him.
Yeah, it's a beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2 situation where you just have to accept it.
Right. But other than that, I mean.
All right. So character and character development. I gave this a 5. I think the characters fit generic stereotypes, and with so many of them, they're spread so thin by the time most of them die. I don't care. Most of them are killed all at once anyway. Plus, most of the kids feel like they should have almost been the counselors themselves. Like, if they would have done the story and be like, oh yeah, Jason Alexander's character is a camp counselor, I would have been like, yeah, I believe that 100%. And plus, you just have stereotypes. You've got the nerdy kid. You've got the bully. You've got the cool guy who gets along with everybody. It just felt a little too generic for me. So I gave it a 5. Kenneth, where are you at?
7. That's pretty much where I stand. I just gave it a 7. I really like the Glazier character. I liked him even though he looked like he's a fucking goddamn mid-20s dude. You know what I'm saying? I liked how he portrayed his character where he's got, you know, like this fucking New Yorker kind of, you know, assholey kind of thing about him, you know, like one of those fucking stereotypical New York gangster kind of things, but he's just not quite there.
He's like a trailer park gangster.
Right. And so and so, you know, I really like the way he portrayed the character, but other than that, everything else is pretty, you know, it's pretty damn typical. I mean, there's really no major depth to anybody else.
Fair enough. All right, Alex, what's your rating?
You know, I hate going after Kenneth because I feel like I was way too generous every time I hear my rating, but I gave it a 7. I dig the chick from Bloodsport, the blonde. I'm obsessed with that movie, so
can't go a single podcast with Alex without him mentioning some 80s action movie.
Yeah, well, see, the thing about it is I'm with Alex because I was sitting there when I watched it the first time and I'm like, where the fuck do I know that chick from?
Yeah.
And then when I looked it up on IMDb, I was like, she's the reporter chick that fucked Van Damme in Bloodsport. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I met her last year. She's actually really cool. And she said Van Damme is a total weirdo in real life. And I heard this, and I met the other guy, Jackson, for that movie, and he said the same exact thing. He said he is just fucking weird, dude. So they both think that, but okay. Yeah, so she was cool. I mean, probably just my nostalgia really with that. And then Jason Alexander, like, dude, stop trying to be cool. You're not cool. No matter what you do or say or whatever lines they feed you, you'll never be cool. You're just a bald loser, and we're just waiting for that to happen. And it eventually did. So he is just, I couldn't take him. Big nose, the guy's fingers chopped off. He's really nothing amazing either.
Did you recognize him, though?
I did, because I'm a big fan of Robert Downey Jr., and there's this movie Only You he's in with Marissa Tomei, and that guy's in it. So
Yeah,
that's how
The one that I know him from really, really well, he was in Hackers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did you ever see Hackers, Alex?
No, I guess not.
What? You haven't seen Hackers?
That's like the greatest 90s movie ever.
Oh,
No, I'm a
it's
hack.
so good.
You're missing out, bro.
You are a hack.
I'm a hacky podcaster.
Sorry, go ahead.
Other than that, like the blonde chick who banged the guy who has like a mind of just total blankness and dumbness. What was his name? You just said it.
Glazier.
Yeah, Glazier. Like I thought he was interesting because he really did convey stupidity, and I thought that was really incredible. How I really believe he has nothing behind his eyes, and I guess that's something to say about the actor, right? Because I mean, he couldn't be that stupid, right?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's the only one that I really, really liked.
Right.
Does anyone think this movie was a super rapey warning sign? Because two of the characters in this are very pushy and rapey.
Oh,
And they're both like the super New York types.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
watch
know.
Jason Takes Manhattan. They get off the boat. 10 seconds after they get off the boat, they're trying to force heroin into her and rape her. So
Yeah. Welcome to the
New York
Casbah,
is
princess.
the place of rape.
Alex lives up around that area. What do people like over in Manhattan? Have you ever been?
Maybe, apparently.
I've tried to rape 3 or 4 girls, but they fought me off. But
If you had your beard, I bet they wouldn't have fought you off.
True.
Jason Alexander is such a loser. He was even obsessed with like this chick with no ass, and he was like, "Oh God, I gotta grab that," or whatever he said. Like, was that most bizarre scene ever?
Well,
Yeah,
that was
let me
actually
show
his.
her ass. It looks like the bathing suit is like hanging off.
So it reminds me of the ass from Friday the 13th Part 2. The chick who's going to bang the handicap guy.
Dude, I was gonna say that, but I didn't think you guys would get that. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yes, but it wasn't Jason Alexander's character who wanted it. It was the New Yorkie guy. The one that actually looks like he would be some kind of Italian.
Well, there's egg on my face. Well, there you go.
But yeah,
He
no,
actually kind of
nonetheless,
reminds me of the other dude in Last House on the Left, not Krug, but the other one. What was his name?
Weasel.
Yeah, he actually, the way he looks kind of reminds me of Weasel.
Yeah, Eddie, but it was Eddie who was super into that chick. Jason Alexander, on the other hand, was into this other chick who barely gets any screen time, but throughout the movie he like flirts with her, and she's got no chest, no ass, no anything. She is super basic looking. She's super
It was the
boring.
80s.
That's true.
Lame 80s though. There are hot chicks. And by the way, I want to say real quick, because we did see some nipple shots in the shower in the beginning when that creepo was checking out the girl. Sleepaway Camp wins in nipple category if we ever made one. So her nipples were fucking weird, man.
But it also wins in dick category, too.
Oh, God. The cocks in Sleepaway Camp are phenomenal compared
Best
to
cocks I've ever seen in a movie, hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Jay, character and development, what is your score?
I give it 5. The only person I really liked was Jason Alexander's character.
That's how I am.
Oh,
He's
ripped
the one
on
I
him
like
for
the
the last
most.
hour and a half.
Wow, you must have been like punching your own hand, like, come on, motherfucker, every time I was saying something, right?
No, he was funny. He was the funniest one. He felt the most normal. Like, and he reminds me of me, like all the jokes he was making and stuff.
Yeah,
But he
I
also stood up for, like, the
literally,
kid that got picked on. So I don't know. I just kind of related with that one.
yeah, I cut out a picture of Jason Alexander from this movie and put it on a picture of Jay so that I could see his tattoos with the Jason Alexander face, and that's what I beat off to this morning.
Oh fuck! That's hot. We need to take a break.
Can you say that to me?
All right, pacing and editing. I gave this a 5. There are a lot of times where I just want this movie to go faster. There are moments that are like meant to build tension, but instead just come off as super boring. It has way too many lulls between the exciting scenes, and Jesus Christ, longest boring chase scene at the end of the movie ever for a final chase. that should have been cut down. That was fucking just too much. So I really wish they would have paced this way better. Kenneth, where you at?
6.
6, slightly above me. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and the biggest issue that I had is the same one that you did. You know, because the editing of that last that chase scene and everything. I mean, it was just like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Get it done. let's just go ahead. And then there's this scene where dude is laying up underneath something or whatever. I can't remember what his name is, but he sees like the dead body of the chick that died in the woods. You know, the one that got out of the lake after fucking what's his name was getting all rapey with her.
Yeah,
if you look at that, if you pause that and you look at that scene, that's actually a still shot with her up against the tree. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I was like, y'all couldn't even fucking damn get a picture of this chick with blood all over her inside this room. You had to like fucking, and it's only quick, so I guess they imagined that people won't see it. But I noticed it, and I was like, that's fucking bullshit. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so that part of the editing really pissed me off. And then and I think I mentioned this to you earlier, Jerry, when me and you were talking. I don't know what this has to do with, but the fact that there were so many opportunities for the killer to crispy critter that guy, and he never took it. It's just a constant walking to this dude, and then the dude's fucking swinging that axe, and the whole time this fucking flamethrower will blow out like 7 to 10 feet in front of this guy, and the dude is like 2 feet in front of him. He could have set him on fire so many times.
Look, when he bought the flamethrower from Elon Musk, he agreed to be safe with it.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Either way, for whatever reasons that you want to be safe with it, that was fucking just absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, man, you could have set this dude on fire so many times.
Yeah, you know what? Complete side note, it is very fucking weird that a guy who was burned to death or not burned to death, but was set on fire is trying to use fire as his weapon. Seems like, to me, you wouldn't want to be around fire anymore.
I don't know.
He's going the Batman route. He's taking what scares him and using it to scare others.
Or maybe,
is that why Batman touches Robin?
I can't say anything because I think there was like this episode of Criminal Minds where a dude did that, where he fucking got burned really, really bad, and then he was a fireman, and then he used fire to kill people. I think there was an episode of that. But I mean, it's just I don't know whether they kept fucking putting the same shot, overlaying it to make that where Cropsy's chasing this dude with the fucking flamethrower. I don't know whether they did that, but it looked fucking stupid. And then there's other scenes that are right after that when Cropsy's on fire, where you can just see random shit that's just overlaid like a fucking cartoon in the background. And those are the biggest issues that I had, was just with the whole ending. The rest of it I didn't have a problem with.
All right, fair enough. Alex, what's your rating?
Can I start talking to Kenneth before I develop ratings?
Yes.
Okay, well, I gave this a 7 for some reason. Yeah. I will give them this, though. The Cropsy fire killing ending to the same guy who did it to him. And Kurt Sutter taught us all that to exact our revenge on our enemies. And just remember what Jax did to the guy who was responsible for what happened to Opie, and think of what Jax did to the guy who he thought did something to someone at the end of season 6.
Yeah.
So exacting your revenge is a really cool thing to do to people. I've been doing it for about 20 years, so it's really fun. So, and the other thing I'll say about the editing that did work for me with him not killing the guy with the fire when he easily could have, the scene where he's like on the ground and then Cropsy's walking up to him and the flamethrower's right there and he keeps sort of crawling back and he's right in his face with it, but he's not doing it. That was kind of cool because what I learned from Hard to Kill, an 80s action movie, is that the anticipation of death is worse than death itself. So
all these references.
Yeah. So
I know. Do you want to just take Kenneth out on a date?
Yeah, I mean, we really need to.
Yeah. So it's like that's that's amazing in a way, and I was really into that scene. And if you guys said that end scene lasted too long, I gotta admit I was drunk and on my phone for a little bit of that, so I didn't notice it.
Well, that's the only way to deal with this ending, to be honest.
Yeah, but that right there is a prime example of what we're talking about. You had enough time to be drunk and on your phone, and the scene was still going when you came to your senses. I mean, come on.
I came to my senses to still see him not shoot him with the flamethrower.
Exactly, dude. And then I understand what you're saying about the prospect of death, but at the same time, man, that's a completely different world when you're about to get stabbed or something like that. But you're about to get burned to death, which, from what I understand, is damn one of the worst things in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't need the anticipation for that. It starts when my feet catch on fire.
Right. And it's like, you're fixing to have somebody just blowing fucking fire at your face. There's no anticipation needed. You're going to burn to death. That fucking, the idea of that in itself just fucking
The only time blowing fire should come up is because she had some Taco Bell Diablo sauce right before she gave you a blowjob. Okay?
Right. I've literally sat and thought to myself when I watch, all these hundreds of fucked up movies that we all watch, and I've thought to myself, Jesus Christ, the idea of burning to death or not even dying, just the idea of burning like that is absolutely horrible.
Oh
Yeah, I do not want to be a burn victim.
No,
either.
I mean, I look close enough to one. I don't need to actually feel the effects of it. You know what I mean?
Kenneth, have we ever told that story?
I think so.
Oh. When I first met Kenneth, I asked him if he was a burn victim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, literally the first thing out of my mouth was, how's it going, man? I'm Jerry. What the fuck? Were you a burn victim or something?
Yeah,
You're
now
such a
look at
sweet
us.
guy.
We've
No,
been
you
friends for
didn't.
like 10 years.
Swear
So
to you.
fucked up.
We have our friend Roxy can verify this because she did not want us to meet each other because she didn't think we would get along. She thought we would immediately get into a fight.
Oh.
And then we finally met each other. And the first thing I asked him was, are you a burn victim?
Oh, now I know why you're so charming.
Yeah. Fucking great.
Yeah, but see, that's actually one of my favorite things about Jerry. That right there proved to me that Jerry was somebody that I was going to like being around because he didn't hold anything back. He wasn't trying to be an asshole when he asked me. He was genuine. He
genuinely was one, right?
Right. He wanted to know. And the thing about it is it's like, at that moment, I was like, okay, this dude's real. I like him. He's fucking honest and straightforward. I can't stand people that are just like, hold back and whatever else. I mean, if you got something to say.
All right, fine. I'll leave, dude. I was invited on the show. What the fuck do you want from me? I didn't ask to come here.
all right.
I'll go, whatever.
There it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why we've been friends for so long.
Yeah. All right. Jay, pacing and editing, what's your score?
I think the pacing and editing for this podcast is a 0. I gave it a 6. It spends a lot of time building up this fake atmosphere that it doesn't even use. Like when the guy goes to get his vitamin E, that fake scare, it never goes anywhere. It was completely pointless.
That
whole
scene
was pointless.
Like, they left out a clip because he goes there to find the kid who's getting the vitamin E because Glazer apparently said something which you don't find out till later when they get back to the mess hall, and he's like, Glazer, you do that again, I'm gonna kick your ass or something. And it's like, what are you talking about? What did Glazer do to convince you to go out there in the first place?
I'm not the only one who wondered what he's talking about.
Yeah,
so,
no.
Okay,
I
so
had to
here,
kind of piece it together.
This is what I got from that. Because he saw someone in the window and he told Todd about it, Todd just assumed it was Glazer fucking with him.
Well, no, that doesn't work because the kid who saw the face in the window was not involved in this scene. And
yeah, because he runs and tells Todd. He's like, Todd, there's something in the window.
Glazer tells Todd to go out there to the cabin where other guy is getting his E, his vitamin E, not ecstasy. So
that fucking lengthy ass face.
So it was Woodstock. Woodstock went out there to go get his vitamin E.
Yeah.
And then fucking Todd, what's his name? Todd goes out there also.
Todd.
Tony Todd goes out there also. And there's bees.
No, that's the next movie.
Oh, fuck, my bad. And so Todd goes out there and then scares Woodstock half to death, and then they go back to the mess hall where Todd confronts Glazer about if you pull another stunt like that, you're getting out there. But I feel like there should have been a scene where Todd was talked to by Glazer to send him out there to get Woodstock. I don't think it connects to the fucking Alfred seeing Cropsey in the window before, because Alfred's not the one that did it, and no one believed him anyway.
How much is that Cropsey in the window?
Oh, God, AMV Hell Zero.
Onward to Atmosphere.
Yeah, okay. Atmosphere. I gave it a 6. While it does feel like summer, I feel like once we leave the camp, and I immediately forget that these are campers, that these are kids who are supposed to be at a summer camp. As they're in the woods and they go to this fucking random building towards the end, I just feel like they should have stuck closer to the camp. And the atmosphere that's built by tension just does not really work because it lingers too long. So that's pretty much my big problem with this movie's atmosphere, is it starts off really, really strong, and then by the time they get on the rafts, make it out there, and the raft disappears, or their canoes disappear, and they build the raft, from then on it starts losing its atmosphere because you get this gigantic burst of kills, and then it's nothing. Then like everything's super slow.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
concur.
yeah. So Kenneth, where are you at?
I gave it a 5. I just didn't think the atmosphere was all that. I mean, I give it credit for trying to be creepy, but I just didn't feel like it was creepy. I felt like when it really comes down to it, the cinematography and everything else like that, I felt like they were fucking running around, filming these kids doing whatever, not giving it any kind. I didn't feel any tension, nothing. I didn't even think the POV shots were that great. I just didn't. I gave it a 5 just because they were attempting to give it that creepy atmosphere, and the fact that they caught the summer camp vibe. But other than that, there just really wasn't a whole lot to it. I didn't feel unnerved by what was going on. Like when you're watching a slasher movie like Friday the 13th or something like that, the combination of the music on top of, thunderstorms and shit like that and all the rest of this stuff, it conveys that unnervy, feeling. This did not do that to me, and the only thing that kind of gave me a little bit of that, was the score, and I'll talk about that when we get to that. But other than that, the cinematography and all the rest of that, I just didn't do it for me.
Gotcha. Well, I know there was no Latinas in here, so I know Alex didn't like the POV shots. Alex, what is your score for atmosphere?
I give it a 6. Although, score is a separate category, I will say that I did definitely focus on the score and things like that. But I'll say that it didn't really propel me forward in any engagement of any type. It didn't make me feel cozy and stuff like I feel when I watch a Friday the 13th with that kind of music. And I did really admire some of the shots. They really do a good job at like sunsets and things like that. But the atmosphere, I don't know. It half captured me. It more feels like there's just another 80s horror movie, and it's a campsite, things like that. But it didn't engage me in any way, shape, or form the way Sleepaway Camp does. So it totally fell flat in that way. So that's why I gave it a 6.
Gotcha. All right, Jay, atmosphere. How you
Atmosphere, I gave a 5. Kind of for the similar issues I had with pacing and editing. It just a lot of wasted stuff. It spent time building atmosphere, then I feel like it threw it away by not having it go anywhere, in my opinion. It felt like a summer camp, but if you take out all of the murder, it could easily just be an 80s summer camp comedy / drama. And I just felt like the overall atmosphere was lacking a lot.
Fair enough. All right, we move on to scenery, set design. I gave this a 6. Once we leave the camp, we just get a lot of boring woods, and then we get the broken down house. Which was that supposed to be Cropsy's house, or was that just a random building in the woods? Like you were walking in Venezuela and you found one of the broken down Nazi hideouts in the woods. What is this? I just don't like it. Does everything look like a summer camp and looks like woods in the summer? Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't do anything to really excite me. It doesn't do anything to really set me up. It's woods and a river for most of the movie. I like the summer camp, but that's about it. I think the mess hall was probably the best, most summer camp feeling thing. So, because even their rooms felt like a little too big for a camp. Like for a summer camp, unless that was like for rich people summer camps.
Yeah, I was gonna say the parents just paid a lot.
Yeah, apparently this is all rich New Yorkers or something. So I just give it a 6. Kenneth, where you at?
I gave it an 8. And because but the reason being is because, damn, it goes back into what I was talking about the atmosphere, where it really conveyed the summer camp look. And, I've been to summer camp, so I haven't been to like one that's all summer long, but I have been ones that are like week long. And some of the places that I've been to when you go to public parks and stuff like that, the inside of these rooms actually do look like that, where you can pack in, 20 kids on bunk beds. You know what I'm saying? So it had that look to it, the woodsy part of it and everything. I mean, I like the fact that there were areas in the woods that weren't completely graded off and whatever else. It still had the grown up and things like that, where it looked like that had nobody been there in a year. I like that. So I thought the set design and the scenery actually looked pretty good for a summer camp.
All right, Alex, what do you feel about scenery, set design?
I give it a 7. As far as Cropsy's place you were talking about, what it looks like, what it should be, it definitely looked like the kind of place a hot Brazilian girl would bring you over to have sex with you, then you'd wake up with no kidneys or something. So I don't know like what they're exactly trying to convey there, but it just seemed odd to me in whatever way. It did definitely give the summer camp vibe feel, I guess. And like you said, there were just a lot of woods and a lot of lakes to me, and that really didn't make me feel anything. So it didn't blow me away or really capture anything. Again, I keep saying it because we're reversing it, but the way Sleepaway Camp does. So this gets a 7.
All right. Jay.
Jay gave the scenery and set design a 7 as well. Like you guys said, it looked and felt like a summer camp. I've never actually been to any kind of overnight extended stay summer camp. I used to go to day camp because my mom worked and she needed a place to dump me for a few hours. But that was mostly just showing up to a school and then we'd go to a different beach every day. Nothing special. But it looked and felt like a summer camp to me, or what I imagine a summer camp to be anyway. At least the Hollywood generic version of a summer camp, I guess I should say.
You got to go to a beach, man. When I went to day camp, my parents would just drop me off at Walmart. And I just hang out at Walmart all day.
Go to the toy section. We'll be back.
Pretty much.
It's crazy, man. When I was a kid, my mom worked at a dentist office, and the dentist office was like right next to Blockbuster. So I would literally go stay in Blockbuster all day.
That's
funny. Oh yeah, we talked about on the movie rental store episode.
Right. When she worked at the dentist, and then when she worked at fucking movie gallery, going back to that episode, shit, I literally got to hang out in the movie store and watch whatever the fuck I wanted.
That's fantastic. All right. We now move on to acting. I gave this a 7. There's nothing great here to me besides Jason Alexander. I think he does a fantastic job. And a lot of the acting just comes off as okay. It does get spotty in some places, but not enough to completely take me out. They do tend to focus on the people who are better at acting, and the people who are bad at acting kind of only get very few lines or anything like that. So I rarely was ever taken out of the movie because of acting, which is mostly what I want to put it as. In retrospect, I think I may have scored this a little high, considering, but I still give it a 7. It's okay acting, nothing that's going to blow me away. Kenneth.
I'm at a 7 as well, for pretty much the same reasons. I mean, I think the acting was it was good for who was on there. You know what I'm saying? Like the chick from Bloodsport, dude that we know from Hackers and in other movies, Jason Alexander. You know, it's pretty much the same thing that Jerry said, where you've got the heavy hitters, which are the ones that are focused on even more. I really going back to what I said about the character development. I like the dude that played Glazier. I really liked him. I thought he conveyed his character very well. And so, you know, I gave it a 7. It wasn't that fucking fantastic, but it was definitely above the middle for me. So,
You know what I hate? When they have people smoking cigarettes in movies and they clearly do not know how to smoke a cigarette. You can always tell. I know at least for Kenneth and I, because we used to smoke cigarettes, watching a movie, you're sitting there and I'm just like, Tiger, you do not know how to smoke a fucking cigarette.
it's
Put
like
the
when
fucking thing down.
when they pull in the drag and you can clearly see that they're not fucking inhaling all the way. They're just
It's
putting the
not
smoke
only
in
that,
their
it's
mouth.
how they hold the cigarette.
Where it's not fucking like natural, where you're just sitting there
Yes.
and you're doing you when you're holding your cigarette, you're doing everything that you normally do. It's just there.
Yeah. So that
You know?
bothers me. Speaking of things that bother me, Alex, what did you think of the acting?
I absolutely overrated this acting. I think I did it based on my rating for Sleepaway Camp. So, you know, when I looked at the two, I was like, well, I'll give this that. So I gave it an 8. And I think it's probably for the same reasons you guys mentioned. They focused on the heavy hitters, and they didn't let a lot of the bad actors become the focal point. The chick from Bloodsport was good. Jason Alexander, although I don't like him as a person, I think, you know, he definitely was a person you wouldn't, you know, think, oh, wow, this guy's a horrible actor or anything like that. Like I said, focused on a lot of the good ones. It wasn't like glaringly obvious these were all terrible actors, although the weird, creepy guy was pretty bad, but I just chalked it up to that's who he is in this movie, so I give it an 8.
Fair enough. All right, Jay, what do you think?
I give the acting a 5, and that's almost all for Jason Alexander.
Wow,
Yeah.
you didn't like anyone else?
No, I don't know. Maybe that's a little low, but I didn't get my second watch in like I wanted to, but it's just, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed or cared about anybody for the most part.
All right, fair enough. We will move into special effects. I gave this an 8. This is honestly why we are here. We're here to see classic Tom Savini effects. They look like classic Tom Savini effects. Some of them look kind of bad by today's standards. Watching back, there are some times where you're just like, ugh, that did not look good. For example, when Woodstock gets his fingers cut off.
That whole
Does
goddamn
not-
scene.
Does not look good, but there are other scenes that look fantastic for the special effects. And also I want to point out the Cropsy mask. The face work on that is actually super well done. It looks really good. I really do like that. So this is probably one of my highest ratings I gave the movie, and that's an 8. Kenneth.
I gave it a 7. I mean, for the pretty much the same reasons. I mean, you know, the whole scene of the raft brought me down because, you know, obviously the look, like you were talking about Woodstock's fingers, but the whole thing, I just didn't care for it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll give you the example that I give everybody the example that I gave you, Jerry. It reminded me, or let me, I guess I'd put it into context. The scene that I'm talking about reminded me of this, but however, is when Jason comes walking out of the cornfield and he just starts slicing up all these fucking kids, and you can clearly see the mechanism that's spraying the blood underneath these kids' shirt. It was fucking ridiculous in Freddy vs. Jason, and it was ridiculous in this. It looked like shit.
Yeah, it's them cramming too much into one scene.
Right. And it's like, you know, when I was watching it, that I just couldn't get past that. But at the same time, like the scene where Glazier gets killed was really fucking good. Because, damn, when he had him pinned up against the wall with the fucking hedge clippers.
Yeah, that was
going
really
through his
good.
neck, yeah, you can when he's moving the hedge clippers, you can see the hedge clippers moving in the tree. And I thought that was really awesome So it's like I've kind of got that's the reason why I put it up above a 5, because I would have brought it down. Because the Cropsy mask looked pretty good. I liked what they were doing with it, but it still was clearly a mask. It wasn't like, it didn't look to me like there was prosthetics on its face. It looked like it was just a rubber mask. But I liked the idea of it. But the Glazier thing, that kill is what kind of tipped me over up towards more closer to 10. So that's the reason why I gave it a 7.
I feel like the Cropsy mask would be like if they did a remake of Nightbreed and they wanted to like fuck up Decker's mask really bad to piss all the fans off. That's what they would make it look like.
I can see that.
All right, Alex, special effects.
God, I'm looking at these ratings. Did you ask me a 1 out of 20 or
1 out of 10.
10? Oh, okay.
What do you mean
Like,
1 out of 20?
I gave it a 9 for some reason. Yeah, I definitely.
So this is your ratings.
Can I
you
change these, or am I going to mess up the whole show?
No, you got to keep with what you wrote.
Yeah, see, there
You're
you go.
fucked up, son.
That's what
Keep
I'm
going.
saying. That's
You're
what
fine.
I'm saying. Okay.
I think people will understand that there's a variety here, but
You
it
could also
works because
say-
it also shows you can't change it because then you would have to change your Sleepaway Camp ratings, and this will show because your ratings are intertwined.
Yes.
But you can
There-
always pull a Jerry and say, well, in retrospect, I probably would have made it lower.
Okay.
Well, don't point out how I cheat, Kenneth.
In retrospect, I probably would have made this lower, but I gave it a 9. Yeah, those fingers on the dude is laughable. But oddly enough, that's not the funniest thing. I actually laughed out loud for a straight like 45 seconds, and it's not because the fingers on the guy of the raft scene. It's because of the giraffe that Cropsy killed. When he stabs this fucking guy in the neck, I mean, there's a scene where like he pulls the thing out of his neck, and this guy's neck looks like one of those African women who put the rings around their necks to make them longer.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
it's like a reverse of how Kevin Bacon
is
gets
that
killed.
when he stabs Eddie on the raft?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That is fucking laughable.
That raft scene, I don't know if it's because they were doing special effects on the water or if it's because they were cramming all of it into this one shot. And I think the raft scene is what most people talk about for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, it's them blowing their load in one shot. And years later, I'm sure at the time on VHS, all that looked fantastic. And we'll come to a scene in Sleepaway Camp where we'll go, in VHS, I'm sure this worked. But on Blu-ray,
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
it just does not hold up very well.
Yeah, you can see too much.
Yeah,
Well,
so...
One weird thing, when they were I know we're not really talking about the movie all that much, but when they were, like, launching this raft, I thought it was bizarre that the two fucking people wearing pants were standing in the water to push the thing out. Meanwhile, there's, like, 8 people on the beach wearing shorts, and they're just standing there. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the chick even later on, fucking, what's the name? Michelle... She, like, when she jumps into the water later to go check on the raft that's floated back, she takes off her clothes and gets into her bathing suit.
Right. But not for this. Right.
Yeah,
So-
it makes no fucking sense.
It was bizarre. But Savini, yeah, Friday 13th 2 is known as my favorite, top 2 favorite horror movies. And Savini did not work on that to work on this. And it doesn't really matter in the end because the MPAA would have cut that up anyway, so it makes no difference how good anything looked in terms of special effects. So at least you could see something in these movies, so that was pretty cool. Like you get to see a good chunk that you definitely can't see in Friday 2 at all. So, and they both came out the same year, so which is bizarre because they have the same weird campfire story fake scare scene.
Yeah.
And they both came out in the same year, so you wonder, like, well, they're working on the same time. That's why he couldn't work on this one. So how the hell did they both do this? Who stole whose idea?
Yeah, but they both say that neither one of them stole the idea, but damn near there's a couple of spots in the campfire thing that it's almost verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, when I was watching it earlier today, I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
And even the dude that's fucking goddamn telling the story, he kind of looks like the guy from Friday 2.
Yeah, it looks like Paul.
Yeah,
So-
so I'm just like,
Yeah, it's a whole weird thing. But So because you could see a lot of it, I think I probably like overappreciated it. So I gave it a 9.
Well, I mean, I gave it an 8, so it's not like you're that far above me. I think there is a charm to classic Tom Savini effects, and I think we're a bit more forgiving of it because of that, when honestly we should be like, your effects in the first Friday movie, which was before this, are better than this, so what the fuck?
Yeah, but then again, you know, going back to what you were saying about giving him a pass, then he gave us some of the best special effects of all time in Friday 4.
That's true.
You know,
he did really good in The Prowler also.
Yeah, you can't deny the special effects in Friday 4. That shit looked fucking great.
Yeah, speaking of Friday night horrors, Jay, what was your rating?
Damn it. I was trying to come up with something witty to your carryover to me, and I got nothing, so I'll just go on with my score. So after listening to you guys, I actually kind of feel silly giving it what I gave it.
Too bad.
But yeah, too bad for me. I gave it a 10 because I like old school 80s practical effects, and I didn't notice any of those mistakes until y'all just pointed them out, and then I went, oh, yep.
Do you feel better, Alex?
Sure.
Wait, okay, so Kenneth, you gave it a 7, right?
Yeah.
So you gave it a 7, I gave it an 8, Alex gave it a 9, and Jay gave it a 10.
I also appreciated them because they helped break up what otherwise was a monotonous movie.
Fair enough.
And
All right.
the burn effects, the burn effects on the guy looked really, really good.
I like the burn effects at the end of the movie more than I like the burn effects at the beginning of the movie. But
I don't
do
mean him being
like
on
both.
fire. I didn't mean him being on fire. I meant like the makeup for afterwards. Like when the arm grabbed him, that looked like a burnt arm. And at the end, despite knowing it's a mask, but I mean, I would have known that regardless, because obviously they didn't burn a guy's face for real. I thought that he looked really good at the end too.
Kubrick would have burned his face for real.
No.
All right. We move on to kill/gore because it's tied into special effects. I gave this a 7. And here's where it gets a little double-sided for me. We get on-screen kills, but a lot of them are just slash cuts or stabbings. There's not as much creativity in this movie to me. And the kills feel so unbalanced because so many of them take place at one point in the movie. And then after that, you don't get as much. After that big scene, you get like 2 more death scenes. One of them being off screen, then another, and then the rest is just a long ass chase where you don't get anything until the killer is killed. So it just feels very unbalanced. But because some of the cuts and stabs did look good, and we got good bloodshot and gore, I gave it a 7. Kenneth?
I gave it a 7 also. I mean, pretty much for the same reasons. I mean, as I had for the special effects. I mean, you know, there were things that looked pretty good, and then there were things that were absolutely terrible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, going back to the burning helmet scene at the beginning, you know, the special effects just were not that great. You know, and it's like, you know, for that in itself, and then the other reasons that I had with the, you know, with the kills and stuff like that, some of them looked really cool. And then other ones looked really shitty. So I just kind of stuck with the 7 in this one too.
All right, Alex?
Sadly, I chose 9 because I probably just made it congruent with my special effects rating.
Look, Jamie's not here. You don't have to use big words.
Oh, so I get to stick to 2 syllables?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Really cool. No, just kidding. No, yeah. The kills were cool, you know. I'm, you know, setting people on fire and cutting their hands off and stabbing them in the throat's always cool. I don't know. I'm probably like just the good ones stuck out to me when I was doing my ratings. And then the other ones I forgave, you know, because it's like whatever. It's 81. So I give it a 9. And I'm not saying I stand by these ratings, by the way. So.
Fair enough. I don't stand by anything I say on this podcast. Jay, where you at?
I don't stand, period. And that's why
That is bullshit. I've seen a picture of you holding Stephen King's The Stand. To be fair, you were sleeping and I put the book on you and just took the picture. But still.
And you didn't stick around for breakfast afterwards?
No, you're fucking diabetic. I don't want to eat your shitty breakfast.
I'm holding the DVD.
So
right now.
as a diabetic, breakfast is the best meal because it's almost all protein. I can make eggs and omelets and bacon and sausage and everything else that's delicious.
Bitch, I want pancakes and syrup.
Well, you can have that. I'm a great pancake maker.
You better be. Anyway,
I
what are
gave
your-
the Kills
I
and
hate
Gore
all
a
of
10.
I hate
For
all
the
of
same
you.
reasons, I gave the SFX a 10.
Okay, so you gave it. Okay, I was gonna ask you to repeat it, but you gave it a 10. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just for the same reason I gave the SFX a 10. Like, they were just... They're literally the best part about this movie. And so I felt like they deserved it because they kept me entertained.
Just because I abbreviated fuck me, SFX doesn't mean you should say it. Say special effects. What are you, a fucking hero?
SFX.
Oh, you motherfucker.
I'm definitely doing that for the next movie, too.
I know. I fucked myself now. All right. Let's get into the monster/killer of this movie.
I hate all of you.
Why? Because I like pancakes?
You know, I'll be specific on why I hate all of you. Okay? At this current moment, I hate you because you can eat whatever the fuck you want and you stay scrawny.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's called fucking depression. It's fantastic.
Right.
My
okay.
depression doesn't do that.
I
Well,
hate-
your depression
Wait,
is
wait,
not
wait,
from
wait, wait, wait.
Alabama, you
Let me
cunt.
finish. I hate Alex because Alex, for some reason, has the mental fortitude that I do not have to fucking just absolutely be sexy. Okay? I've seen pictures of this man with no shirt on. Okay?
AKA sticks to his diet.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He has the mental fortitude. And then I hate Jay because Jay, even though he has a actual physical condition, he still gets to eat good food and he's currently losing weight.
Well, not anymore because I went from walking for 5 miles a day at my job to sitting on my ass fixing electronics. So I need to get an exercise bike or something and get those 5 miles back into my life.
But either way, so there we go.
Fair enough. Well,
thanks,
back
man.
into the hatred.
That's a different movie.
Oh, my bad. I gave the monster/killer an 8. We don't get much of a backstory, but I think the backstory is enough to provide and enough of a motive to make me understand the killer. And it also keeps the mystery, even though I know who the killer is, I know why he's doing it. I never get like just clear shots of the killer. So they try to keep some kind of mystery, even though you know everything about the killer. They try to do something mystery, which makes him a little bit less boring. But other than his face looking all burnt and fucked up, looking like a burnt Big Mac, and that he does his job and he does it well. So I give him an 8. In Alex retrospect, I maybe should have went down, but we'll see if I'm wrong. Kenneth?
I gave it an 8 also. And
I'm not wrong. Yes.
And then the only reason why I gave it an 8 is just because his face looks cool. Other than that, he's just a typical killer to me.
I'm still wrong. Yes.
I mean, that was it. I just thought his face looked cool. Otherwise,
All right.
he's just a dude that's fucking pissed off and going and killing people. I mean, you know, it's typical.
All right. Alex, what's your high score for this one?
8.
Oh, okay. You're an 8 with everybody else. All right.
I guess. Yeah. His face looked cool. Trench coat thing, hat thing. It's kind of. I don't know if it was cliche by then, but whatever.
It's cliche if it was a giallo.
It's precursor to the Dark Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You're a
dark,
dark
man.
man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but again, I did compare this to Sleepaway Camp when I did it. So it's like, yeah, it's a cool idea. A guy was burned by people coming back. He's no Freddy Krueger, but it's like, you know, it's the real life Freddy Krueger in a weird way. You know, he's not coming back in your dreams, but you burned him. And he's coming back just to kill the same kids who did it, or one of them, whatever. So that's cool. Yeah, just I don't know. I just gave him an 8 for whatever reason. I really don't remember.
I like it.
It's always wonderful to have you on the show.
Oh, yeah. Jay, make me regret this less. What did you get?
No, I gave it an 8 too.
Wow, everyone did an 8.
I gave it an 8 because of the design reveal at the end. I gave it an 8 because, He was decent for a slasher. And yeah, those 2 reasons, basically.
All right, cool. We move on to hero. I gave this a 6. Our hero is Todd or Alfred or a duck. I'm not really sure.
I was going to ask you, who the fuck am I rating here? I didn't even know what you were asking me.
Alfred is, well, it's supposed to be the main, like, if I said who's the hero of Friday the 13th Part 2, who would you say?
Ginny.
Exactly. It knows who the fucking main character is. Who's the main character in this movie? I don't know. At first you're like, is it Alfred? Is it Todd? Is it that duck I saw? I don't know. And Alfred, he's kind of annoying. And our first run-in with him is him being fucking weird and peeping on a chick. And then, as for Todd, it's hard for me to say, me and Kenneth got into this, because Kenneth agrees with me. Well, actually, I think Kenneth told me, and then I was like, I had the same shit written down. It's kind of hard for me to see Todd as a good guy, when in his childhood, he set a man on fire, and then in his adulthood, uses that as a campfire tale. You're a fucking asshole. You are a
exactly why I gave it a 5.
You're a bigger fucking dick than Boone from Nightbreed, okay? You're fucking
There's my
useless.
score right there. I gave it a 5 for the exact same reason. Because I see Todd as being the hero-esque kind of guy, because he's the one that inevitably at the end of it takes care of the killer. But at the same time, it's like I'm right there with Jerry. I'm like, what the fuck, man? What kind of weird fucking shit are you in your life to fucking damn set somebody on fire, damn near burn them to death, and then go tell kids about it to fucking freak them out before they go lay down?
Yeah, makes no fucking sense. So I gave it a 6. Kenneth gave it a 5. Alex, what did you give it?
Yeah, that would be like Alice sitting at the campfire in Part 2 talking about Jason's legend. Oh, no, that wouldn't make sense because she didn't do anything to Jason.
I beheaded this woman at camp, and now she roams around in a gray sweater.
That makes sense then. Okay. Blue, actually. Come on, be an expert.
Wasn't it gray? Oh, but it's gray. It's gray later on because it's all old and mucky and shit, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking of it from Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, it's light blue. Yeah. What are we doing? Heroes, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if I was trying to be the opposite of a Debbie Downer when I was doing my ratings, but I gave it a 7. I don't know who the hero is. Is it the chick from Bloodsport? Is it the weird creep? Is it the guy who was crawling on his back while the guy's in his face with a blowtorch? Is that a hero?
I think it was a
Glazier.
Glazier was the hero?
Glazier
yeah, because
was
he got laid.
Yeah.
I thought that was so hot when that chick was like, well, maybe later. And he's like, seriously? She's like, well, yeah.
Dude, I've heard that so many times. I'm like, look, this doesn't happen all the time. And she's like, we'll give it another shot later. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but how hot was it when she really followed through with that promise? I was like, wow.
Yeah, because that never happens.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about before they had sex. I was talking about failing at sex and then her being like, it's okay, we'll just try again later.
Oh, when he gave more promises. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that was, well, okay, I just said that happened a lot to me, but you just called it weird. Okay.
I love you,
sure.
Jerry. And
Alex,
your penis.
Thank you, Jay. At least Jay likes disappointment.
I like all 3 of your penises.
I just like yours.
Oh,
heroes,
yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't tell who the hero was, so I really just kind of wrote a number on here, so I wouldn't take it too seriously. So you can go ahead, Jay.
I gave the hero a 3. No, seriously. So mostly because I couldn't figure out who it was supposed to be. And by the end of the movie, Todd takes the role of like you said, Jenny or Alice, as the final girl, but a guy. But he's the whole reason it happened in the first place. All the blood of the kids are on his hand. He did it. It's his fault.
Yeah.
If
I want a guy,
finishing off the bad guy, but also causing the problem in the first place.
Yeah, if I want a guy as my final girl, I'll stick to Jesse. Thank you very much.
Yes, I was going to actually bring him up. And as for the guy who's supposed to be a hero who does everything, Tommy Jarvis is the one who brought Jason back to life, but we're supposed to pat him on the back when he drowns him and chains him down there?
No, same thing. Yeah, Tommy. If he had just fucking left good enough alone, we wouldn't have had a Nightmare 5, 7, 6, whatever number he's...
Friday. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Whoa, time out. He didn't bring Jason back. And
Okay,
oh, wait,
listen.
yeah, he did.
Yes,
Never
he
mind.
did.
He
Yeah,
put the
okay.
rod in it that had lightning strike. I was
Yep.
going to say it was God, but never mind.
His Frankenstein. He Frankensteined him.
Fuck it. You're right, damn it. All right. So let's move on to our next category, score/soundtrack.
I'm going first.
Okay, shit. Okay, go ahead.
You guys always
Fuck
say
it.
everything I feel, and so by the time it gets to me, I'm like, I agree. It's,
Well, if it makes you feel any better, for Sleepaway Camp, we will be going in reverse, so I'll be last.
oh, fantastic.
And you'll
I
be
gave it a
first.
7.
God damn it.
Yep, and you'll be after Alex, Kenneth.
Yes.
Everyone gets their payback.
I don't want
Yeah.
Alex's sloppy seconds.
I
Too
gave it a
fucking
7.
bad. 7, okay.
Yeah, because it was good. It actually felt very Fulci-like, too. Like the music he used in his movies that we've reviewed in the past.
Agreed.
But there were also times where I didn't think that it was needed as much. Like when she's finding all her clothes, it's like, "Wah, underwear!" I'm like, okay, that's not thrilling. Stop it.
I thought it was.
But overall,
Just you, man.
it was really well done, and I like the synthy Italian style soundtrack that we got out of most of the movie.
Okay. I also gave it a 7. I thought it had some really solid, cool tunes, but I don't think it did a good job with atmosphere or tension building. So while I could jam out to these, I would not really. I like the soundtrack more than I like it as a score. Kenneth?
I gave it a 9.
Wow.
Damn, homie, hold up.
I saw
Okay.
that coming
I thought it was great, man.
when he
I mean,
shared the
because-
link in the
Yeah,
group chat.
because I thought it was
like,
fucking. I thought it
loved
was
it.
fucking awesome, man. Because just the amazing mesh of the synthesizer notes and everything to fit with the movie, I thought it was really, really good. And it's the only amount of atmosphere that I felt, because the music itself was fucking amazing. I thought it was great. I'll give credit. The reason why I didn't get a 10 is because I will agree with Jay that there were a couple of spots where it didn't quite go well, but overall I thought it was awesome.
Wow, okay. Alex?
Wow. I give it a 7. I thought there were like 2 cues of music that, there were 2 jump scares in the beginning. One, I remember him grabbing the guy's arm, the black guy, when his arm was all burnt. And then there was like one more cue in the beginning that definitely, because I was talking to my wife and that we were interrupted by both of these.
Were
So-
you wearing a hat?
Can I talk to your wife?
Yeah, I was taking notes while having sex and wearing a hat.
Okay, just checking.
So, those were cool. And then when I did pay attention to music, I do get lost in movies, so I didn't really think of it analytically. But yeah, when it occurred to me, it was pretty solid. So I thought it was pretty good. So we gave it a 7, only because it's nothing like iconic. It's still good though, and nothing really stood out in any major way. But it was very Goblin-esque, so I was like, all right, that's cool.
Wow, both y'all dropping that Italian reference. Okay. We move on from there to Scare Factor. I gave it a 7 because it does actually have a few good jump scares, and I think it's time we brought up the raft scene where Cropsy pops up from his canoe, and we get a good jump scare there, or the Big Mac scene where he grabs the black dude. There are a few good jump scares in this movie that I really do enjoy. Now, my only problem is you're going to tell me they're on this raft, they're going towards this canoe, and they don't see this motherfucker jump up from where he's hiding? Not only that, but how did you what kind of Tony Hawk-like balance do you have that you can jump straight up like a fucking springboard from your back? Bruce Lee wouldn't be able to do that in a fucking canoe, and this burnt motherfucker can? Get the fuck out of here. But it's a good jump scare. Anyway.
Wait.
Okay.
I'm going to go with exactly what I said to you earlier. Have you ever been on the water like that before?
No.
Until you get right up next to the boat, you really cannot fucking see anything in it. That's no shit. The jump part
But
of
could
it,
he
him
hide
jumping-
between, don't they have pieces of wood for you to sit on? How was he hiding underneath those?
Actually, when they got close to that canoe, I really didn't see any. But most of the time with a canoe, no, because damn, a canoe, the way the balance of a canoe, if you're not sitting deep in it, it'll tip.
Oh, okay.
So the part where he jumps straight up, I completely agree with you with. You know what I'm saying? But when you're inside a canoe, you have to sit close to the bottom because of the weight of center that goes with it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at other ones that are made that have those seats, the bottom of it is a little bit more flattened to give you a little bit more room to tip back and forth. But if you got one that just comes straight down into a point, then yeah, you're sitting inside of it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna trust you on this because I'm super pale, which proves I know nothing about being outdoorsy, and you do actually know stuff there. But Kenneth, the main question is, besides your knowledge of canoes, what do you rate the scare factor?
I gave it a 5.
Oh,
Wow.
I just didn't think I just was not blown away by any of the moments, that were supposed to be, fucking goddamn your jump scares or your intenseness or anything like that. I just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I give it
Shit.
I gave it the 5 for effort. That's about it.
Okay, Alex, where are you at?
Where I'm at is I'm going to say that drinking is like legal drugs because I gave this a 9. And I have no
What were
idea.
you drinking?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He was drinking
Abso-fucking-lutely.
straight ether.
Yeah, I don't know how I came up with any of this. I really don't. I often, every time you come to me, wonder what I was thinking. But I'll say this, there were pretty good jump scares, and like I said, the music cues helped those out. I thought of the raft scene. I thought of the dude who's dumb, and then I thought of the anticipation of death and things like that. So I was like, well, that's kind of all scary stuff, and and I did give it that thing about the budget. So I was very generous, but without saying officially, I'd probably give it a 7 if I was to renege on my score here.
We don't use that kind of language here. Jay, what is your vote for scare factor?
Scare Factor was a really cheesy reality show. I could never get into it. I'm just kidding.
First of all,
that's Fear Factor.
That early episode where they had the midget dressed like a rat man was fucking awesome. That gay dude flipped out so hard. It was if you haven't seen that just one clip, and the gay man comes back here, he's just like, little man, are you okay? It is so fucking funny. Anyway,
all right.
Yeah, just like that.
That's fantastic. Scare Factor, I gave a 5. It's standard slasher stuff. Nothing too special. The face could kind of freak somebody out if they're not ready for it. That's about it. It just wasn't. The jump scares didn't do it for me. They were all pretty predictable. So it's mostly on the guy's fucked up face at the end, and the brutality of some of the kills.
Okay. Well, we move into the bottom 3. All right. Entertainment value. I give it a 7. I do think it's an entertaining movie, but I can't go higher than a 7 because the pacing really, really makes it suffer. Kenneth.
Same.
All right. Alex.
You gotta try drunk pacing. That goes up 1 point apparently because I gave it an 8.
Okay, so I gotta be drunk next time. I'm breaking out the rum. Jay.
Entertainment was a 6. Jason Alexander was a treat to watch. I thought he was funny. And then when the
Jason
killing
Alexander out here looking like a snack.
yeah, a little lunchable.
Fucking hate that terminology.
And then when the killing actually started, that was pretty entertaining too. So I gave it a 6.
All right. Rewatchability. I give rewatchability a 6 because it has so much downtime. There's way too many lulls in this movie that would make it really hard for me to recommend someone to rewatch this. I could maybe rewatch this once every 5 years, but halfway through I'd probably turn it off and watch Friday the 13th Part 2. That's what I'm saying. Kenneth.
I gave it an 8 because this is, regardless of my issues that I have with it, I still could rewatch it, more than one time. I mean, hell, in the past 6 months, I probably watched this movie like 5 times.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, why?
Well,
Kenneth, do you need to talk to someone?
Is he on 5 different podcasts?
Are you crying out for
Well,
help?
originally I had never seen it before, so I was interested in it. And
Oh
I
yeah,
fucking-
because I burned it for you.
right.
Yeah, you should have.
And so when Jerry hooked me up with it, I watched it twice for then, and then I watched it sometime in between then and now, just for the fuck of it, and then I watched it twice for the show.
Fair enough. I can't say anything because I watched it twice for the show, once normal and once with commentary, and I have seen it a few times before this. So, all right, laughing man, Alex, what do you got over there?
Whiskey.
For rewatchability?
Yeah, whiskey neat over there.
He gave it a 10.
No.
Look at him and Watson drunk together and make them do a podcast on the
Oh, that'd
movie.
be fucking epic.
I must have sobered up when I hit this number. I put 7 because I've been aware or had this movie in some capacity for like 10 years, maybe. And I've watched it 3 times, which I guess 7 is definitely an overrating. Yet again, because at 10 years, I should have rated it by each year and gave it a 3. Right? But yeah, I give it a 7. I mean, it's like, until I was asked to come on this show, I was like, not really. It wasn't on my list of the things I'm going to watch next. And it hasn't been for like 4 or 5 years. So, and then again, I compared it to Sleepaway Camp, which I watch every year. So I was even generous in that respect, though. I should have still given it a 5 or a 3. But
Yeah, stupid.
yeah, I know I'm stupid, or drunk, one of the two, or both. But I gave it a 7. If we could go ahead and just, if it wouldn't mess up your show, can you just take 2 points off, please?
No, go fuck yourself. Jay, rewatchability, what you got?
I gave it a 7. This was a first-time watch for me, and it's one that I wanted to watch, being a fan of 80s slashers and Tom Savini. I wanted to watch it a second time. I got about halfway through before you guys said, let's record super early. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'll probably watch it again at some point. But it's the kind of movie that would like sit on my shelf until somebody who is also a fan of horror, who has never seen it, wanted to watch a movie. Then I'm like, we should watch this movie, and we can make fun of it while it happens. So that's kind of why I give it a 7, just because it would get rewatched eventually a few times.
Okay. All right, last round. Pop culture. I gave it a 5. It has an okay mention in the horror community, but to be honest, this movie is talked about for one reason, and that's because Tom Savini turned Friday 2 down to do this movie. Other than that, I don't hear that many people talking about The Burning. In fact, how many times have we brought up Friday the 13th Part 2 in this episode?
I think
we
need
clearly
to,
wish we were reviewing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we need to stop. We'll all go watch Friday the 13th Part 2.
And just
We'll
come back and review it.
and
When it
we'll
really comes
re-record
down
this.
to it, I don't even think that we need to watch Friday the 13th Part 2 to be able to review it. Because
No,
because
Alex
we've
can
all
tell us
seen
beat
it.
for beat.
We've all seen it so many goddamn times, and then we've got the fucking biggest fan in the world of
Yeah,
goddamn
Alex
Friday
has a
2.
goddamn fucking Friday the 13th Part 2 shrine with not only fucking a Betsy Palmer head, but a fucking full-on Jason mannequin.
Right. And then on top
Sackhead
of that,
mannequin.
I mean, he might as well be, the fucking Jason encyclopedia for that movie.
Just stick a suction cup dildo to it and let it pound you.
No, he does put the suction cup dildo to it, and then he just gets his wife really drunk and is like, "We're gonna have a threesome tonight, sweetie." If it gets crazy, he
Okay.
brings over the Betsy Palmer head
I need that video.
and recreates Reanimator.
I mean, going back to whoever made the comment, I need that video. That needs to be in my life as soon as possible.
All right, Kenneth, what I need is your score.
6. I gave it a 6 just because, and it wasn't because before, but it's kind of like the fucking what is it, the effect, whatever it's called, the effect of when you see something, then you start seeing it more often. Like you don't pay attention to fucking, like for me, I didn't pay attention to how many Toyota Corollas were out on the road until I fucking bought one.
Or like when you learn a new word and then all of a sudden you start hearing it everywhere.
Right, exactly. It's the same thing. I never paid attention to stuff where I saw things about The Burning until fucking damn I watched the movie for the first time, and then now I see it more often. So I gave it a 6, even though it's the Burning is still not a, other than what Jerry said, the Tom Savini part of it, it's still not a staple in horror. It's really not. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alex, pop culture.
9.
No, I actually was pretty, like I said, I sobered up towards the last few, and I give it a 5 because it has no pop culture impact at all. I mean, you can't walk down the streets of New York on rush hour and say, "Who knows the burning? Hello."
And there's that one guy that's like, "Oh yeah, when I pee."
Yeah.
That's a whole lot more than 1 in New York, sir.
Yeah, I'd get 15 yeses there, but no. For this movie, no, you get 0. This is absolutely a nothing. Listen, let's get serious. Pop culture. I mean, you can ask people who's the killer in Halloween, and they'll tell you Jason. So, do you think anyone knows this fucking obscure nothing of a movie?
No.
Nobody knows this.
Nobody.
This is ridiculous. You might as well ask him, what do you think of Madman's new Blu-ray transfer? And they'll be like, what is that TV show? You know?
It's a valid fucking point.
Right. No one knows what you're talking about. So, no, I should have given it a 0. But I'm a nice guy, so I gave it a 5.
Alex is definitely the guy that pays for a dinner and a movie, and if he doesn't get laid, he still calls back the next day. He is a nice guy. He will take the burning out on a second date. Jay, pop culture.
I gave it a 4. I gave 2 points to Tom Savini being involved, and I gave 2 points to the handful of people who think it's an amazing slasher in the horror community. And now after watching it, I realize they just want to sound cool by not liking Friday the 13th.
Damn, okay. I see you. Okay, so that brings our scores for The Burning with... I gave it a 96 out of 150. Jay gave it a 93 out of 150.
Yeah, fuck that.
Kenneth gave it 102 out of 150. And Alex gave it 111 out of 150. Alex gets the award for highest rating. Jay gets the award for lowest rating.
Well, it should have been a better movie.
Well, you should have been a better movie.
I am a better movie.
You are not a better movie. You need more nudity.
All right, turn on your cameras right now. I'm going to show you my dick.
All right, let's go. Hold on.
For those who cannot watch this because it's not a video podcast, Kenneth just turned on his camera. So I guess someone's about to see dick. I don't know why Jay was like, you turn on your cameras, I'm going to show you dick. I'm like, that's not how this works. You have to turn on your camera to show us dick.
Listen. I don't know.
Anyway, does anyone have any final words about The Burning that they want to say that they didn't get to bring up?
Why does he kill that hooker? Is she related to the camp? Was he just bored? Was that a practice killing? I just want to know.
It was rejection, man.
I think it was a practice.
She didn't reject him. She was like, you got the money. We're fucking.
No, she said, no, I can't do this. Get away.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because after she saw his face, she did do that.
But that's not it. So do you think he was going up there to actually have sex or to kill her?
I don't know, but it was stupid, and I want to know the answers.
All right. Well, if anybody ever interviews the director, that's the question we need to know.
Yeah.
Anybody else that has a question not related to hookers?
Well, then no.
I got nothing.
Okay. Well, then next up we have Sleepaway Camp. So Sleepaway Camp is our next movie. This is a 1983 American slasher film written and directed by Robert Hiltzik. I don't know how to say that fucking name.
That's the year I was born.
Yeah, the film tells the story of a young girl and her cousin who are sent to a summer camp where a group of killings begin shortly after. I think for Sleepaway Camp, we can probably just go ahead and jump right into our scores for categories. Because I don't think Sleepaway Camp's a movie you have to set up. You know Sleepaway Camp. If you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Turn this off and go watch it, and then come back.
Right. Absolutely.
And turn us on.
And turn us on. All right. So we are starting with story. Go ahead, Jay.
Story, I gave it 8. Because it's infinitely better than the story from the fucking Burning. But no, seriously, it was. I just felt it was set up a lot better. We get the tragedy at the beginning. Then it moves right along. You see the people with the aunt. Speaking of which, I wish we had a whole movie dedicated to just the aunt character, because she's fucking crazy, and
Yes.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
All in her mouth.
Yeah. Well, that red lipstick does it for me, but
Right.
that's besides the point.
I like the way she talks.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. Like, it's really unnerving and it's hilarious at the same time.
Wasn't that nice of
Like,
me?
you feel like
Huh?
if you don't do the dishes, she'll cut your hand off, kind of person, while talking softly like that. Like, it's just absolutely insane. I want more of her.
I
But
want a movie
besides
of
that-
her as a killer and just call it Killing with Kindness.
There you go. But besides that, it's just set up better. It progresses better. It's more coherent. It makes more sense. There's more mystery to it. I just enjoyed it a lot more.
All right, Alex.
I gave the story a 9. I think it's fantastic. It's so well thought out. It's so deep and psychological. It's so not okay to make a movie about, especially when you're casting kids in it. And it's awesome for that reason. It's well done. It's mapped out correctly. It has, you always want to start off a movie with a big bang, and then you go from there, and you don't even know why this relates to anything you saw in the beginning. You don't know who's who or what's what or what means anything. So that's interesting. And then you see this whole thing play out with the psychology of kids, and you figure, well, this is kid psychology, but it's like, no, it's much more than that. And then you get to this climactic ending, which is the most shocking ending of any horror movie I probably have ever seen. There's a lot of endings to horror movies, but God, I mean, if this one didn't stick with you, something's wrong with you, And it's just from beginning to end, what a story. And it's like, wow, what an ending. And man, yeah, definitely deserving of a 9.
Gotcha. Kenneth.
I gave it an 8.5, and pretty much for the same reasons. I mean, it was a much better story. I think the creation of Angela itself, the way it was thought out and so on, was just it was good. It was really good. Aside from those particular points, like the creation of her and the aunt and whatever, the rest of it was, pretty much typical slasher-esque. It was those main points that made it a better story.
I agree with you. I gave it an 8 myself. This is a prime example of how you take a simple story and give it such a good twist that it becomes deeper and way more captivating than your standard fare. I was talking to Kenneth earlier, and I was like, do you think the story pushes the envelope, or does it push buttons? Like, when they were writing it, were they doing things because they wanted to push the envelope, or were they doing things because they wanted to push buttons? It's really hard to say either way. But the story in it is absolutely fantastic. I do think that once you go through it once, the story has that punch once. After that, it's just a lot of picking up new things and digging deeper into the psychological, which is why I give it a very, very solid 8. Now we move into character development. Jay, go ahead.
Character development got a 5 from me. I feel like I should have scored that higher, but you know what? This is what happens when I do this quickly.
You're the Alex of the show now.
No, the rest of my scores I feel like are pretty on
shut
point.
the fuck up, Millhouse.
But,
You're the Alex.
Besides Angela and her cousin, I wasn't really too impressed with anything else that was going on, though. So that's probably why I scored it like that. I really like them. I really like the aunt. Like I said, I really wanted more of the aunt. It's just so fucked up. Besides that, everyone else was kind of easy to hate, except for Dick Pants there. I don't know his name, but the guy with the afro who was always wearing a Speedo, he was okay. He was nice to the kids. But besides that, everyone else is kind of an asshole.
Dick Pants.
Yeah, Dick Pants. I don't know what else to call him. His dick was always poking out. Is that how they dressed back
Alex
then?
is right. It's Ronnie.
Okay, Ronnie.
Ronnie Dick Pants.
But yeah, so that's kind of where that score comes from. Is just me not really liking anybody else.
All right, Alex.
Wow, I got a complete opposite reaction. And I also took your question differently when you were asking for ratings. You wrote character/development, not character development.
Well, yeah,
So-
because it's supposed to be the characters and also, like, what do you think of the characters and what do you think of their character development in the movie?
Oh, perfect. Because I did differentiate the two. So, like, when you ask that, to me, I'm looking at characters and then development as, like, another section of this. So I'm going to blend the two. And, I mean, you can't get better than this. Angela, I mean, the development of her, she didn't even talk to anybody. And then she finally made a peep. Then you see a development in her whole character. She finally warms up to somebody only to be betrayed by the only person she trusted. And look where that ended. You got her cousin, Ricky, who defends her to the bitter end and this and that. And he's the protector and everything. And then he's seen as the killer and everything. And Judy and Meg and all that. Like, talk about two perfect villains for the atmosphere we're in, you know? They played their part as if they knew, and even when you think about the dude who ran the camp, the hell's his name? Ben? Was it? No, it's Ben's the black guy.
Mel.
Mel, yeah, Mel. Like, it's almost as if, like, you look at these people and that's how they should act. You know, like that's how you perceive those people, how they look, how they acted in this movie. And it's like they knew what they look like and what they should be. And it was perfect. And like you said, Ronnie, or Jay said Ronnie, I mean, come on. These characters stand out so much. And even the dude, Artie, that character, and Darth Vader's father, Ben. You know, it's like amazing, this character list we have here and what they offered and the diversity that they all brought to this role and how it all developed for some of them. And the other ones who didn't develop didn't need to. So I thought it was a standout character list, and I gave it a 9.
All right, Kenneth.
I gave it a 7.5. And the only reason why I rated it that high is because of Angela and the mom. Because I thought Angela's character was done very well. Her development was done very well. I thought all aspects of her were good. I liked the nuttiness of, mom, aunt, whatever. I liked the nuttiness of her. I really, really liked her. But everything else, I mean, you know, aside from that, I thought that all the rest of them were kind of typical. You know, you had every aspect of each one that you wanted. Like, you know, and the thing about it is I know where Alex was going with that, but at the same time, he pretty much defined what I look at as being typical characters.
Yeah, but there's 83 or something, so you have to think of that differently.
Yeah, but see, even with the time period, I look at it the same. You had your typical villains, you know what I'm saying? In which case they embodied their characters.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, you know, so I can split this up between the characters themselves and then the acting of the characters, of the actors playing the characters, because I will split that in half, because when I get to the acting, you know what I'm saying, of them embodying their characters, yeah, but then there are other aspects of it that I didn't like, and I'll get into that because that's actually my lowest rating, is the acting itself. But the characters, they were typical. They were. Everything, to me, everything about it was. You know, you've got, like I said, you've got your villains, and then you've got your protector. You've got everything that is involved in your typical story. You know, it's like if you were to take your characters and you were to put it next to, okay, you've got your plot, which consists of beginning, middle, and end. And it's the same thing to me with the characters. You have your villain, you have your protector, you have the
love interest.
The love interest. You've got it all. You've got all those things that are there. You know what I'm saying? And
the authority figures.
The authority figure, all of it. And to me, it was typical. And then at the end of it, what changed that, and to me, what gave it that little bit of bump, was the twist at the end with Angela. That's what gave it the bump. That's what pushed it up a little bit further for me. It's because they did take something and they twisted it from the norm.
All right, fair enough.
I fall in the middle of you two. You just both articulated your points just way better than I could. But that's kind of where my rating came from, is I fall in the middle of you two.
So I'm at an 8. The thing I like about this movie is it sets up the characters very quickly. And then it uses these very small scenes to help you understand the characters and their summer camp setting, whether it's them playing baseball, playing flag football, going swimming, eating at the cafeteria, doing a dance. Like, they use all these very small summer camp scenes to help develop the characters with very small dialogue pieces. As you go through, everyone fits into their character very easily, and I actually don't see it as typical or generic as I saw it in The Burning. I actually see it as more natural here. Everyone feels more realistic to me. There's no one like Glazier who is just a straight out full on asshole. It's a group of guys that are all kind of an asshole because they have a group mob mentality, making it to where the individual characters that we do get to know seem more realistic. Even the chubby kid who gets picked on, like, they still have his back when it comes down to it. Ricky is still like, oh, give him, when they're picking on Mozart and Mozart pulls out the knife, no one freaks out. Ricky, when he gets his knife taken away, Ricky's still like, hey, we're just kind of messing around, man. Don't take his knife away. Like, they're still really cool with each other. They don't go that full out stereotype. And that's one of the things I really love. And y'all have already hit on the great character development of Angela, the great character of the aunt. When it comes to Angela, her character development through here is fantastic. Whether it's her starting off silent, her starting to talk ever so slightly, her getting betrayed, and then like her sexual awakening that happens when he tries to feel her up, and from there, on top of her getting felt up, which she denies, she then gets cheated on because she was quote unquote a prude, which seems to really set off a more chaotic trend, because before then the people she was killing were at least related to her and Ricky actually being abused, like, or being mistreated by them. But once the sexual awakening happens, she actually takes some victims that are not related to that, with her killing the kids in the sleeping bags later on. It's a great small thing that slowly builds her into a more unique character. And then Ricky being fantastic, not only funny, but being such a good protector of his cousin and watching out for her. It just, in all, I love there's even the asshole characters I still like. Even the pedophile, I still like the pedophile. He's still kind of funny. Even though he looks like he could be an uncle in my family. He looks like there's an uncle I have that I don't talk to, and he kind of looks like that.
Is that why you don't talk to him?
No, I don't talk to him because he accused me of trying to turn his son gay. I don't know if he was listening to too much Alex Jones or something, but he said I was going to turn his son gay. Which is not true. Just because I'm from Alabama does not mean I try to bang my cousins. Okay? Set the record straight. It's not true.
Loser.
I'd bang some of my cousins.
But yeah, okay.
I'd bang some of Jay's cousins.
Yeah.
Anyway, pacing and editing. Jay, take it away.
No, I'm just kidding.
Look, you said you wanted to go first. You're getting to go first.
Pacing, I didn't say that, just on that one thing, because I was feeling in the back. Pacing and editing, I gave
feel it
a
in
9.
the back if you don't keep going.
Pacing and editing.
He likes it in the back.
I gave it a 9, Kenneth.
You keep it up, and I'm gonna give you a 9. It's gonna take me,
flows.
Alex, and Kenneth combined to make up the 9, but you're gonna get it.
I was just going to say, I don't have 9.
It flows really well.
Come together like Voltron.
The events kick off very fast. It is, it's just absolutely fantastic. I love the way. I'm repeating myself. I've really got to give myself some bullet points when I do these things.
I'm gonna give you a bullet point.
It flows really well. It doesn't. There's no scenes, in my opinion, that are really wasted. Everything is built properly and good story structure, and it just is super engaging throughout.
All right, sounds good. Alex.
I gave it an 8. Probably could have gone higher. I was never bored by a second of this movie. And it's weird because a lot of the critics always point out the baseball scene as being the worst edited or paced scene of the movie. And I don't know, man. I kind of got engaged by that scene. I was like, okay, cool. We get to do this little, side venture here and get back into the movie. So I never even had a problem with that. Like I said, you can never fault a movie that starts off with a bang and ends with a bang, and everything in between is just like progression. Cool to relive. It's even cool to relive the scene in the walk-in with the dude unbuckling his pants. Like, there's not a single part of this that I ever felt that dragged or anything like that. So I probably should have rated it higher, but I gave it an 8, and I think it's solid as they come.
All right, Kenneth.
I gave it an 8 for the same reason.
All right, Jerry. I gave it a 9 because to me there is no boring part. Even I saw the same thing Alex did, where people were complaining about the baseball scene, and I'm like, the baseball scene gives us one of the funniest fucking lines in the movie of "eat shit and live." It sets up character development of how that scene is there to develop the summer camp feel. So hating that is terrible. The only reason I don't give this a 10 in pacing is because the opening credits is slow as fuck, and I wish they would have just skipped that and went right into the first boating scene. That is the only reason it does not get a 10 for me. Pacing is fantastic. I am intrigued the entire time. And at no point in this movie am I bored. I don't ever feel like I need to grab my phone or drink vodka or put on a hat and have sex with my wife. None of that. So it just moves so smoothly. Atmosphere, Jay.
Atmosphere is a 9.
I thought you were going to make a joke about it being a rapper. I was actually expecting that.
I thought about it. It went through my head for a second, and then I decided to save my jokes for some of the other categories.
Can I go through your head in a second?
Yeah, but it's a dark, dark place.
That's all right. My dick doesn't have eyes.
Atmosphere, I gave a 9. It's really tense with them keeping the killer off screen, but the kills on screen. Thank you. That's how you do we don't know who the killer is. Original Friday the 13th. Keeping all your kills off the fucking camera. I hate you. With them keeping the kills on screen, but the killer off screen, they really built up the nice tension. There's a couple red herrings that do well to distract and are plausible. And it's just all around is fantastic. It feels like you're at a summer camp, with the mix of the horror for the movie, but also the way the kids interact with each other and all the settings and everything. It just works really, really well.
So I'm gonna talk about this later in the kills gore section, but
Then why are you bringing it up now?
Okay, fine.
I'm kidding.
now I need to know what you were gonna say.
You keep saying the kills on screen, but actually most of the kills are completely off screen, and we just see the aftermath.
I'm with Jerry. Me and him actually have talked about this. I'm with him. There's only a couple of them that are on screen.
No, like name one kill that is actually on screen that you don't just see an aftermath shot of the body.
But so like with the cook.
Off screen, you never see the water hit him. You just see his bubbling flesh afterwards.
That's him dying. That's on screen.
But that would be like, that kill was on screen because I saw the stab wound.
No, so what I'm talking about when I say off-screen is things like where you see a fucking silhouette and the person raises the knife and you hear, ah, but you don't see anything else.
That is literally this movie.
No, it's not.
No.
But there was the one that I talk about that I just fucking, I'm going to save it. I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to save it.
Alex, atmosphere.
Where are we? Atmosphere?
I'm going to smash the Snapple bottle against you.
Hey, Jay, you be quiet, or we're doing Dream Warriors next, and I've got a lot of shit to take on that one.
That's fine. At least
Let's
I get to
do
watch
it.
it again.
I want to do it for real. Let's do it.
Damn it, Kenneth, I'm trying to make empty threats here, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say I have to come back for that one if you do.
Alex,
you don't want
real.
that.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere-
We're doing Dream Warriors versus Friday the 13th Part 2, the Horror Coliseum, biggest fuck you winner. I don't know. There's no title match. We're just
No.
doing it.
Oh wow, I might be good. Wait, Friday 2 versus Nightmare 3?
Yes.
Oh wow, can I come
No.
back for that? I'm just like glomming all like clearly I missed a skeleton crew, right?
We might as well just let fucking goddamn Alex and Jerry talk on that one. Me and Jay will just
That's
sit there
it.
and
I'm
watch
no
the
longer
fireworks.
hitting you with this Diet Snapple bottle. I'm going to shove it up my ass.
That sounds like I'm winning even more, Jay.
Are you really
And
gonna
it's
do
going
that?
to
Jay?
break. And I'm going to bleed from my
Can't turn
ass.
this camera back on. Okay, I'm sorry. Alex.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Yes. I give it a 9. This is amazing to me. I feel like I know the whole area of the campgrounds. I'm so familiar with all the cabins and all the mess house and every little intricate piece of this movie. It just seems so like I'm there. And I'm so into the atmosphere and the music. Everything is just so well done, and the people make it feel lived in. It's just so great to me that I even bought a Camp Arawak T-shirt and a baseball T-shirt, if you must know, because that's how into the baseball scene I'm also into, just to rebel. And so I got that too. And I don't know, it's just like so amazing. I really, there's really nothing to elaborate without saying typical words here that are 1 or 2 syllables.
Yeah, we don't say typical words here.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to sound Jamie smart. So I'll just say cool, fun, and the or that, normal words.
Okay.
And
okay.
and that's it. Yeah, I give it a 9. I love it.
All right. Kenneth.
I gave it a 5.
What?
Yeah, I just
What?
I mean,
Really?
other than the summer camp feel, I just did not there. Like again, I never was at a point where I was anything was unnerving. I just when I was watching the movie, I was just entertained by the movie. Other than that, I didn't get the creepy vibe. I didn't get any of the rest of that other stuff. The only thing that I got was the summer camp feel, and that's the only reason why I got the 5.
Wait, is this like a tension thing we're supposed to be giving a rating on?
Well, it's like the way I look at it, tension, anything like that, anything that gives you the feel of what they're trying to convey with it. And I just did not get that. You know what I'm saying? Like in newer movies, you can go with atmosphere of like when they're trying to convey something by like color tones, things like that they use, utilizing the music with what's going on at the time, things like that to convey, a good example of giving the atmosphere would be like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know what I'm saying?
The documentary feeling. Okay, well,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You might be missing something, though, because there's a book that was released a couple of years ago. It was called Examining Sleepaway Camp. And when it comes to what you're talking about, there are tons of things that convey tons of things. And a lot of them are camera angles. For example, like when cameras look down on people, when they look up on people, when they pan this way or they pan that way, the way they capture certain little elements. Like there's a lot of things that we're missing as a general like viewer and stuff that I swear to you is happening, because I read the book, that's happening with the directing of all this. And some guy examined it really deeply. And it's a book that I think any horror fan would love. Check it out, definitely. It's like $6 on Amazon. It's called Examining Sleepaway Camp. And there's a ton of things going on here that we're not even aware of. And I don't even know if Robert Hiltzik was aware of it. But I guess maybe I tapped into all those things, so I like totally skyrocketed my rating. But I'm not like shooting yours down. But I'm telling you, if you read that, you might feel a little bit differently.
Well, I'm
I'd
shooting
give
Kenneth's
it a
down.
read. I'd give it a read, but at the same time, I still feel the same way as I did. I mean, it just did not give me that creepy vibe. It didn't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, I like the story. I like the aspect of it. Everything else that I've rated high, those are things that I like. But that was one of those things that didn't. I mean, I felt the same way. If you noticed, I don't know if you paid it any mind, but it's the exact same score that I gave for the atmosphere of The Burning.
Yeah.
I think Kenneth is racist against atmosphere.
I think so too.
I'm not. It's not that I'm racist. It's just that I want more. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I do want more. When it comes to something like that, I want something that when I watch it, it makes me feel fucking damn either excited, or it makes me feel the tension, or it makes me feel just fucking unnerved or something like that. I mean, hence the reason why I've even halfway considered watching a Serbian film, because I'm pretty sure there are aspects of the atmosphere in that adds onto the fucking just absolute shot outness of that movie.
Oh, you're gonna cry.
I hope so.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. For my atmosphere rating, I double Kenneth's. I got a 10. I think this movie meets the summer camp vibe amazingly. It does so well with keeping the mystery of the killer going. I think there are scenes that are just straight up creepy, and they do a good job of showing that. The scene where Angela kills the kid when he tips the canoe over, and she just kind of appears underneath it and drowns him, then it's so fucking creepy, especially from his point of view. Like, oh shit, Freak Girl's here, and then he's fucking drowned. I think this movie does that fucking feeling you get when you first see the ending of this movie, and she's standing there naked with her fucking mouth open. Like, I feel unnerved. I feel the twist take effect. I feel this whole movie does such a good job of bouncing me between making me feel how the summertime fun of everything down to the creepy mystery of the killer. I absolutely love the atmosphere in this movie.
Yeah, Kenneth,
Yes.
did you take that into account, that ending scene?
Yeah.
That's fine. Now, if that atmosphere doesn't affect the same people, affect people the same way. He didn't get the atmosphere from this movie, but there's movies that he gets atmosphere from that I'm like, I get no atmosphere from.
Right.
Huh.
I mean, I think when it really comes down to it, the atmosphere part of it is subjective. You know, because it's like the ending scene. Whereas, even though I agree at the fact that the reveal and it being fucked up and whatever else, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with the creativity of the person that wrote it, especially for the time period when this came out, when that wasn't, you know, as often, you know, talked about. But now, when you're looking at it, man, I mean, just because that had that vibe of it, that doesn't change the atmosphere of it for me. That just makes me think that the story was better. Because I still doesn't feel, you know, when I seen that, I'm just like, oh, wow, that's fucked up. But it doesn't creep me out.
Huh.
Okay, so we move on to scenery and set design. Jay, take it away.
Scenery and set design, I gave it 10. It looked and felt like a summer camp. That's like, it doesn't need to get much more in depth than that. It gave off the feeling that it was supposed to. Nothing seemed ridiculous or out of place. It all made sense. It flowed, like all the sets flowed really well. If you look at it enough, you can almost place the whole layout of the summer camp. So I thought it did its job.
All right, Alex.
Scenery, set design, I also give it 9. Like I said, it pretty much what Jay said. It just felt like that. I knew everything. Very familiar. Everything's laid out properly, and every setting conveys everything that every scene was meant to make us feel. I believe, like even the way like the beachfront or the waterfront was shot at the end, the way the distance that they used when Angela was being carried off and thrown in the water. Everything, and the way the distance they used when Meg was approaching her at the time, and just like the way they used the scenery, you know, that everything is utilized so well. And even the I guess the theater or whatever that was supposed to be, because it seems like a theater at one point, and then another point they're just like eating candy bars and wearing cowboy hats. Like, I didn't really know what that was. But it's like, but it still works in those ways. And the mess hall works, and the walk-in works, and everyone's cabin works. You know, you're like stuck with these people you hate, in Angela's, estimation and stuff like that, or it's a nice cozy one when it's, this Ricky and his friends and everything's cool, or the baseball thing. It all works. So the settings and set designs all were spot on. So I give it a 9.
All right. Kenneth, let's hear you. You better not give this a 5. I will beat you
I did
with
not.
a fucking fish.
I gave it an 8.5. I thought it was really good. I like the set design. It looks really awesome. But the crazy thing is that we all would like it because it actually. I watched a documentary on this movie earlier today, and the camp that they filmed it at was actually the camp that the director went to when he was a kid.
Nice.
So it actually is a summer camp that he filmed at that he was familiar with, and that's the reason why he utilized it.
Yeah.
Nice. I gave it a 10 because it looks like a summer camp. All right, acting.
That's exactly what I said.
And that's exactly what my notes say.
That's fucking funny.
All right, Jay, acting.
Acting, I gave a 5 because, let's be honest, with the exception of Angela and her cousin Ricky, right? That's his name. I'm so bad at names.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone else was just kind of like 80s cheesy standard horror movie acting.
All right, fair enough. Alex.
Although I wouldn't agree exactly on all that, I'd still give it a 6. So it's sort of what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't think Angela's acting was actually really great. Ricky was more natural to me. The aunt was insanely bad, unless she was just trying to be a complete psycho.
But no, that's it. She's the best part.
Well, yeah, but technical acting. I don't think any actual real studier of the craft would ever see that as fine acting.
I will point out that she did question why the director wanted her to act like that, and his response is basically, are you going to act normal when you force a boy to be a girl?
Right, I did see that too, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's but is that the approach that Julia Roberts would have taken if you told her the same thing?
Fuck Julia Roberts.
Well, I'm just trying to say, an actor.
But that's what the director told her to do. It's not her,
No, I know,
choosing.
Not exactly. I'm sure she came up with something. Goes, yeah, that worked. He couldn't exactly. I'm sure he didn't act it out for her. But I'm just saying, I don't think what she's doing is really good acting. Does she seem like an unhinged, lunatic? Sure. I don't think it doesn't still come off realistic, though. Although it does on some degree. So it's a weird thing, and I'm not really
fucking arguing with yourself.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not really hammering her exactly. I'm just saying this whole movie
Kenneth would
is not...
hammer her.
Absolutely.
I'd hammer her, too. She'd like, that feels so good in my butt. It certainly does.
Wait, I tied this little rope on my finger to remind me to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I made you a sandwich. Wasn't that nice of me?
Yeah, I'm not hammering her exactly. I'm just saying, this whole movie is not a showcase of fine acting, So I give it a 6. It's passable. Mel is okay. These two evil girls, the one has these facial expressions that seem to come out of a comic book, which are amazing. Not Mel, the other one, Judy. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, her facial expressions and the way she conveys the evilness of herself, her faces are like classic comic book faces that you draw on a character if you're trying to convey something. So it's pretty fascinating to watch her act. But other than that, everybody else is just, okay or bland or whatever. But yeah, to me, it's just a 6 with the acting.
All right, Kenneth?
I gave it a 4. And the reason why I gave it a 4, the only reason why it got that high of a rating is because of, Phyllis Rose and the chick that played Judy and the mom or aunt. That was the only reason. Because I thought that Judy embodied that fucking cunt aspect. Fantastic. I thought it was great. She's one of those people that would just be like, it would take everything I had not to just fucking, just kick the shit out of her or something like that. If I was Angela, I would have cunt punted her a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's kind of, poetic justice that she gets killed the way she does. But, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, so it's like she. I mean, she did a fantastic job. I also think the blind stare that Felicia Rose did for Angela was great. I like that. I really enjoyed that. And then the absolute shout out shit of the mom. I enjoyed it. I'm still trying to fucking pinprick exactly what that reminds me of, how she acts, because it reminds me of something, but I can't remember what it is. But those three, I really, really liked. Everybody else, I thought were terrible.
Fair enough. So I gave the acting a 7, and I do want to say I always give a little bit of handicap when it's children as the actors. I don't expect them to blow me away. They're children. Some will. Some are very good actors even as children. But, you know, most of them, I'm not going to expect them to...
Well, Corey Feldman would have.
Like Stranger Things.
Yeah, but then he would have drug overdose, and I would have got blamed for it because I touched him when he was a child, and I don't want to go down that route.
But he still would have blown you away. Okay.
Yeah.
Stranger
So
Things.
I personally think, okay, yes, you have a point, but I think everyone does okay in this movie. It doesn't. At no point do I ever feel taken out by anyone's acting. And when it comes to the acting of the aunt, I have a theory that the reason the aunt is so fucking out there is to offset the children actors. If Aunt Martha is so fucking out there with her acting, it's going to make everyone else in the film seem more natural. So it's a great thing to do to make the children actors look like they're better actors. Also, it sets you up that something is not right in this movie, and it's based off her acting. So when you come to the reveal of Angela, it makes sense because you're like, okay, Aunt Martha's a little fucking out there, okay? Martha's a little fucking cuckoo, and that's why her acting is weird. That's why she did this to this child. And so I think it's twofold. I think it works very well because it helps us deal with the other actors in the movie. It kind of goes, because if you watch this movie and you go, she's a terrible actress, it's going to make everyone else look like they are better at acting. And that's just a theory I have. I have no proof of this. I've never heard the director say this, but that's what I feel. So I guess I'm pretty high on the acting in this movie. We will go to special effects, Jay. Special effects.
SFX are my favorite category.
Jay, you're off the show. Alex, do you need a side podcast? We're looking for
Drop the
people.
mic.
Yeah.
God damn
I'm not
it.
going to drop this mic. It was expensive and it's really nice.
Okay, Jay, special effects. Go ahead.
I gave it a 7. They were what we got to see, which we got to see things were really good. I don't know why. See, now I'm mad at myself for giving The Burning a 10 and this a 7. But it is what it is. Maybe because there wasn't as much going on in the way of
Because most of the effects in the
just got
Burning.
backwards.
Well, here's the thing: with the Burning, you have a lot more kills on screen, which are harder to do. As to where with Sleepaway Camp, a lot of the times you're only seeing the after effects, which is not. It's impressive because it looks good and it holds up better, but it's not going to knock your boots off because you're just seeing afterwards. You're not seeing the effect in motion.
But yeah, so what we got to see, I really liked. I really liked the effects on the guy after the water got dumped on him. In general, they were good. And then, of course, the ending is a special effect in itself, and that's it's devastating to see for the first time. It's phenomenal. It's a very haunting image.
Agreed, Alex. Special effects.
I gave it a 7. No particular reason why I rate it that way. It was more like, it was good. Nothing was phenomenally amazing. The arrow in Mel's neck was pretty cool, the way they cut that in. The kid under the canoe, when they revealed him, was not that amazing. But the reason they went that far to even have that fake dummy was just, believe it or not, just to get that snake out of his mouth. Because he kept talking about the water snakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they sacrificed that image. The kid who was a beehive was dropped on him. It's like that is what he would look like a week later, not like 30 seconds later. So that's not really good special effects. That's
No. The special effect is good. The accuracy to real life is not.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna feel dumb when I get to mine.
And then you got like Meg in the shower. That was okay. It was like a weird cheat because she stabs the wall of the shower, and all you have to really do to pay that off is put blood running out of it. So there's really nothing challenging there. The girl with the curling iron. I mean, all you need is the shadow, really, of that to convey anything. Who needs to see any more than that? And they couldn't. What are they going to show besides that? I just try to think of like the major kills. But yeah, the guy with the water dumped on him, amazing, really amazing job on that. And he definitely portrayed a guy who's scalding to death. So yeah, give it a 7 because it is what it is.
Speaking of scalding, Kenneth, go ahead.
I gave it a 9.
All right.
I really liked it. The boiling, like Alex was just saying, that one looked really good. I really liked it. I had to fucking turn the TV down from the screaming, but other than that, I really liked that. But the one that I was the most blown away by is the one that Alex kind of just ran over. He said it just looked cool. I thought the arrow in the fucking throat looked awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because I sat there like fucking 5 or 6 times and rewound that, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. And I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? Because I'm trying to figure it out. And I was sitting there, and after about 5 or 6 times, I was like, okay. I was like, the only way that they would have been able to do this at this time period is I was just like, they would have had to have had the arrow, the part of the arrow with the head on it, flip up from the back to make it look like it just appeared. I was like, and then the other half of it, the only way they'd have been able to do that, because it's one solid shot. There's not a cutaway. And so they would have had to have fucking pulled it to him. And that's actually how they do it. They had a string that was fucking going around from his back through the front. That's the reason why you see the neck piece on there, which kind of looks shitty, but you see it on there. And they were pulling that arrow with a string towards his neck really fast. And then when the arrow actually hit his neck, it fucking damn triggered the thing in the back to make the fucking the other end of the arrow flip up.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought that
I was going to say, I rewatched that scene a lot and could not figure out how they did it.
It took me a while, dude, because I was sitting there and I was like, man, that looks fucking great. And it took me a while. And then I figured it out, and then it was confirmed when I was fucking watching that documentary later on today. But yeah, that to me, that's the reason why I got a 9. That one right there. Because if it's one of those effects where I have to sit there and fucking rewind the movie to figure it out, then yeah, that one blew me away.
Yep.
Also, I think the only real on-screen kill by Angela.
Well, we'll get into that next category.
Okay. For me, special effects got an 8. I think they are great effects, but I do not think they push any boundaries. The part where I'm going to feel dumb is, from what Alex said, is I think the realism in this movie is very good. I felt like the effects on the body of the bees, of the drowning victim, of the boiling water, I think it all looked very realistic.
I didn't even. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jerry, but there was something that I forgot to mention that I was going to, and I just got on a tangent about the arrow.
Go ahead.
The head for the kid that was in the fucking boat. I thought the eyes on that actually looked really fucking good. There are other aspects of it that I didn't really care for, but the eyes
were bad, right?
Right. But the eyes themselves, for those eyes to be fucking artificial, I thought they looked pretty goddamn good.
I agree with you.
Count the kid's head on the beach too. I mean, that was probably just trick photography. Like it was his real head or whatever. So we're not really counting that, right?
Wouldn't trick photography be a special effect though?
I don't know. I mean, like, was that a mold of his head or what? Like, what are we
Probably
supposed to
a mold.
Yeah.
Because they did a mold of Angela's head, so I'm,
All right.
All right. So, yeah, I give it an 8. Super solid, but does not push any boundaries. Time for kills/gore. Jay, you're a whole.
Kills, slashing, and gore. Where is it? There it is. 8. I gave kills and gore an 8.
Like a Magilla Gorilla ape, or?
No, 8. I can't enunciate.
Okay, my bad.
God damn it.
It gives it an 8.
Yeah, an ape. Donkey Kong. That's my score. They were good. Pretty much the same reason I gave the special effects a 7 is just they were fun to watch. Even though you've pointed out that it's now the aftermath and not the actual kills, but whatever. I still feel like since I got to see something about it, it was good. But the bees, the acid, the arrow through the neck, they're all just very entertaining to watch. And
Wait, did you just say acid?
No.
Yes, you did.
That's what I thought he said.
You said bees and acid.
Did I say acid?
Yeah, I assume you're talking about the water.
I am
I was
talking
thinking
about.
about
Okay.
LSD.
You're thinking about part
Okay.
two.
Why the fuck did I say acid?
You're thinking about
LSD?
TC.
I don't know.
I'm thinking
Also,
about
why would they have one giant pot for all that corn as opposed to 2 medium-sized pots? That just seems like a city issue.
They had to make that pot. That pot
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
exist. They had to make it.
Well, it seems like a bad idea. She should have dumped 2 regular-sized pots onto her.
Yeah, it's not very practical.
Oh,
But-
that's funny.
Either way, it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah. All right, Alex.
Yeah, it's funny you do. I'll admit, you opened my eyes to this whole thing too. I mean, I've watched this movie probably 30 times, and I never really thought of like I'm watching aftermath kills. But I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say something that it was crafted so well that it's like you don't need to see any of these kills because you don't really need to see water splashing on a guy to feel the impact of a guy getting scalded to death. But we all know is a gigantic pot of boiling water. You don't really need to see an iron in a girl's pussy to really get that impact and have that
Why?
cringe. Well, we're not
Okay,
gonna
so
anyway.
Kenneth needs to see that because he's going to masturbate to it. The rest of us don't.
Well,
I want
listen,
to masturbate too.
Okay, Jay wants to masturbate to it also. Alex and I don't.
yeah, you're not gonna see it anyway. So that's kind
Can
of
you
like
close your eyes while I masturbate you, while I masturbate myself, while I watch that video?
like where would you listen when you get a kill like that? You're only gonna get it that way. What movie are you watching beside even like Serbian film? I'm sure no, you wouldn't see that even there. So it's like
Yeah,
never
unfortunately, they took it out of Friday 5.
yeah, exactly, and they had
He,
just had
he
a
tried, though.
knife to the stomach or something instead. But it's like, yeah, and like the kills, like the beehive. Do we really need to see bees landing on this kid or stinging him? What would that really mean to us? You know,
That would be pretty cool.
it would just be bees on a body, though. I mean, which you seemingly got anyway. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I mean, stuff like that just ups the creep factor.
But
and
here's the thing:
intensity of it.
had we have seen the actual deaths on screen, they probably would have looked pretty shoddy, like the burning. It would have not have held up over time. So
Right.
showing the after effects instead, where you can do much better special effects because it's not the effect in movement, makes it to where this movie stands the test of time. And it's why most people don't even realize most of the kills are off screen because they see the after effects and they just don't think about it because, oh man, that was an awesome after effect, and they're so captivated by the movie. I think it's a fucking an applause to the movie that it's so good that most people don't even realize we don't see almost any of the kills on screen. It's all after effects.
yeah, isn't that what like the whole argument with Texas Chainsaw? There's
No blood. Or with Michael Myers, they're like, oh, Michael Myers was so disfigured when he took the mask off, and it's like,
Right.
no, he just had a tiny cut by his eye.
right. His eye was just a little off.
Yeah.
His eyelid. Yeah, like there's
It's
a whole
the Jaws barrels.
Right. There's a whole like method of all this that what your imagination has done far exceeds what could have ever been done by some guy with a bunch of rubber and plastic and goo. You know, like you couldn't even really do what's going on in our minds. So I really should have redone my score here and give it a 9, but I guess I gave it a 7. I was being a little too practical and like, you know, too whatever general with it. But I really give it a 9, but I gave it a 7. So I thought it was great, though.
All right, Kenneth.
Before I give my score, I was thinking about the on-screen kill for the bees and what Alex was saying. And I just got this weird mental image in my head of like this anime style kind of thing where there's a bee flying through the air and you got all the shit going behind him, like I said, like in Dragon Ball Z or something, when he's flying through and he's got his teeth gritted and everything. And then he fucking goddamn lands on somebody and then just starts stabbing the shit out of him with his stinger and be like, fuck you, motherfucker. And all my buddies are coming and shit like that. And like, goddamn, you see all of them and it just turns into this whole big screaming thing of dude like looking up to the sky and fucking screaming as all these bees are just fucking goddamn stinging him over and over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, but that could only happen with CGI if it ever.
No, I was thinking completely animated.
Oh, well, I'm saying that it could have never happened here. So I think what we got is probably the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's just what came up in my head. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I just picture someone yelling, "You have been sentenced to die, death by bee orgy."
That too. I gave it a 9.
9, all right.
Yeah, I gave it a 9. I really enjoyed the kills. I thought they were, I thought they were pretty cool. The boiling water, other than the act of it happening right before, which I thought was kind of stupid, with dude fucking leaning over the top of it and then just getting the chair pulled out. And what fucking planet do you live on where you're gonna grab a hold of the hot pot to try to fucking stop yourself from falling to the ground?
Neptune. Things weigh a lot less there, and it's possible that you would have floated and the pot would have stayed in place.
I mean, I was just like, come on, man, really? I mean, if anything else, and then he's holding on to that fucking shelf. And at that point, when somebody grabs a hold of it, I would have just pushed off of that shelf and fell backwards or on top of the person. Because if it's a kid, where I guess at this point you don't really know, but damn, I would have fell my fat ass on top of that person and be like, fuck
well,
you.
He knew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so it's
he didn't have long to fall. He was only standing on a chair that was like a foot tall, right?
Right, and so it's like looking down at a pot of boiling water that does the damage that it does. And I actually know of a person that this has happened to on their legs, and it did some serious damage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like looking down at that, and then just gonna let somebody pull a chair out from underneath you, and then when you fall, you're gonna grab a hold of the pot. Come on, man. That was the biggest fucking problem that I had.
He was probably too busy thinking of bald pussy.
May have been. You know what I'm saying? I think at that instance, I would have lost my erection. But hey, different strokes for different folks, I guess. But that was the only reason why I didn't get a 10, because I like the idea of the kills. I like where they went with it. I thought the bees and everything was very summer campy. I like that, even though the fucking special effects look shitty afterwards. I still like the aspect of it, because I was telling Jerry a story earlier of when I went to summer camp and the only bathroom that we had was an outhouse and it was nasty as fuck. What I didn't get to tell him is the other reason why I never shit in the outhouse was because it was full of fucking bees. And so, like yellow jackets or whatever that linger around, stuff like that. And so, damn, I like that. I like the arrow. Obviously, I've made that clear. The arrow I thought was great. So, I really enjoyed the kills. So that was the reason why I gave it a 9.
All right. I gave the kills a 7 because a lot of them are off screen. So I like, even though it works for this movie and it made the movie in the long run it makes it look better longer down the road, I still have to give them points off for that. And I will say, even though we do get, like, some nastiness with the dead bodies, the gore is actually pretty minimal in this movie, but I feel like it's very realistic. So I like that. So I gave it a 7. We move on to Monster/Killer. Jay, take it away.
I gave the Monster/Killer a 10 because it does a really good job of keeping it a secret. I mean, if you haven't found out the ending, because the movie's so old anyway, keeping a secret to the end. The red herrings make sense, and just the fucking reveal at the end is so gut-punching that it just absolutely oh, God, I can't fucking talk. I'm in the terrible business. It absolutely deserves a 10 because of just how well it's done, in my opinion. I think Angela is a much better mystery killer than Mrs. Voorhees in the original Friday the 13th.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything he said. Although I, oddly enough, rated her an 8. I should have went way higher, 10 also. But more so, like when you encapsulate the trilogy of this whole series, it's definitely a 10. But yeah, Angela Baker is an iconic killer. It's a shame that she never really ever will at this point get the recognition. Like she'll never be up there when people make collages of Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, Chucky, Leatherface, all these guys. She's never really standing there with that mouth open or anything with the knife up. And it's a shame because she should be. I don't know how this movie fell between the cracks, what it was. I mean, there's the most loved and endearing characters in horror, especially women killers, which is not a big thing. Mrs. Voorhees was mentioned. And I don't know. Mrs. Voorhees a little bit goes a point above Angela Baker, I guess. But as far as like the reveal of her, no. They did a terrible job of revealing Mrs. Voorhees and did an amazing, epic, unforgettable job of revealing Angela Baker. So yeah, sadly, I oddly enough gave this an 8, but I think it's really a 10.
All right, Kenneth.
I gave it a 10. I thought she was a great killer. I like the development of her, why she is the way she is, everything. I thought it was great. So, like I've said earlier, I like the way that they did the twist for her and whatnot. And then at the time period for when this came out, that was something that was just not prevalent for anything. So I imagine the people that didn't know anything about the movie when they watched it when this came out back then were just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed it. So I gave it a 10. Give her a 10.
This is one that I now feel like I rated too low. I gave it a 7. I think the mystery of the killer.
You're a whore.
That's 100% true. But I don't sleep with burn victims, so let's get that.
I'm a burn victim.
Hey,
We're
wait.
sleeping together.
Don't you dare say that, because if I hadn't have told you that I wasn't, you would have thought that I was, and you have messed around with me.
Okay. But I can still say I don't fuck burn victims because you're not an actual burn victim.
True. Well, I've got areas where I'm burned. Does that count?
I burned my hand on the oven the other day.
Anyway,
I've got smiley faces on my arm.
I did drop a pot of boiling ramen water on my leg once a few years ago, and it did, like, I had a penis burn on my leg for the longest time. Like, it just looked like a penis. But the mystery of the killer is great, and the end reveal is awesome, but I don't feel like Angela didn't make it to icon status. I'm actually not that big of a fan of the sequels. I kind of like her better as is. With the mystery of the first one, I am the Michael Myers of Angela. Okay, I like the mystery because I like the mystery. I don't want it to continue to her to keep coming back. There's a lot of people who think that if Halloween would have never went past the first movie, it would have been perfect. But because it kept going, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And that, to me, is Angela. I like Angela in this one movie. It's not like Psycho, where at first I was like, I do not want a sequel to this. Then I saw it and I was like, oh my god, the sequels are fucking amazing. With this one, I'm kind of like, it just gets watered down and played for goofy laughs. It becomes the Burning of slasher movies when it continues into sequels for me. I knew Alex was not going to like that.
No, I love 2 and 3.
So she just gets too goofy in those for me, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what it was, though. It was like a better version of Jason Lives,
I get that, but I just prefer my Angela to be Sleepaway Camp 1, and that's it. But yeah, I should have rated this higher, and I didn't. But so I went with a 7. Now we go into Hero. Jay, take it away.
Ooh, excuse me, you caught me right in the middle of a yawn. Hero, I gave a 2 to, because there's no fucking hero. There's no hero. First of all, the bad guy wins. I mean, she gets put in a mental institution, but she wins. Nobody kills her. Nobody stops her. She gets to kill everybody she wants. Ricky tries to protect her, but in all reality, I mean, I don't know, it's not really a hero because she's the villain. So I don't know. It was very hard for me to score this, even more so than The Burning. So I just kind of gave it a 2 for that reason. I might have a stand-in score after you guys are done talking, but for me, there wasn't really anybody that was a hero. There was a few people that were trying to be nice to her, but that doesn't really constitute a hero, in my opinion. Nobody stopped the bad guy. The bad guy won, which I love, but there was no hero for me to score. So I gave it 2. 1 for Ricky trying to protect her, and 1 for Counselor Dick Pants to be nice to her.
Fair enough, Alex.
If I thought this through better, I would have given it a 10 because Angela is the hero. Because think about it. She is a vigilante. She is getting revenge. She's the nerd who's getting revenge on everyone who picked on her. That's all there is here. The killer is the hero. And if I thought that through, I would have rated it different.
So the cook definitely deserved to die. He was clearly a rapist piece of shit. But some of the kids, like
they all did something.
Judy deserved to die. Judy deserved to die.
Okay. Everyone who got killed deserved to die, according to Angela, except for the 3 children in the sleeping bag.
No, yes, they did.
How? What did they do?
Don't you remember what they did to her when Meg threw her in the water and all the kids were throwing sand and rocks at her as Ricky was taking her away from that area?
Oh, shit. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I did too.
Fucked them up.
Fuck. Never mind. Yeah, they deserve to die. Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. So she got those little bastards back. So honestly, Angela is the hero. That's all there is here. That, she's both, which makes her even more amazing, which is sad. Again, I do appreciate what you're saying, that it's cool that she's in the background. She's not on the forefront of the major killers. That's cool that she's our own little niche person, and we all love that, and we all love her for it. But I understand that. But think of everything she is. She's the dichotomy herself. She's everything. So the fact that, if I thought of this ahead of time, like I said, I would have rated it higher, citing her as the hero. But I forgot that, so I rated it a 5 for the same reasons Jay did. There really is no hero to speak of in that typical fashion.
Fair enough. Kenneth?
I gave it a 7.5, and I gave Ricky the 7.5 for the effort because he's the one that I saw as the hero until Alex opened his brain and flooded all that shit out, and now I'm completely rethinking it. But damn, before that he was the one that I was looking at as the hero, and I gave a 7.5 for number 1. He always did his best to be there, and then number 2, he had a very, very foul mouth.
Fair enough. I gave it a 5 because is Ricky the hero? Is Ronnie the hero? Is the duck the hero? I don't know. I don't know.
Duck again?
Yeah, the duck.
Where'd you see a duck this time?
Fuck you. Is where I saw the duck. Okay. Camp Affleck, motherfucker. Yeah, I don't really feel like there's a hero in this movie. For the adults, I guess it would be Ronnie because he's the most level-headed. For the kids, it would be Ricky for trying to protect Angela. But at the end of the day, technically, the only hero in this movie is Mel, because Mel's the only one trying to actually stop the killer, even if he is wrong. He's stopping the wrong killer, but he's trying to stop the killer of who he thinks is the killer.
But he's also beating children.
I'm
covering
okay
up
with
murders.
that. Okay. Fuck him.
Yeah, we don't need to tell
He covered up
anybody
the
if he
murder
gets
of a
found.
pedophile and a fucking jerk. Fuck him. Go Mel. Mel gets 5 points from me. Score and soundtrack. Go right ahead, Jay.
I gave it a 6. I gave it a 6. There's not really much to talk about with it. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. The music was used well. But it was nothing really stand out at all, in my opinion.
All right. Alex.
I actually love the music. I thought it was great cues, very 80s, which I love, and standout song at the end. I mean, God, you're just what I've been looking for, I believe is the name of the song at the very end. It's actually written for Angela Baker herself. That band wrote that song for her. And I play it all the time. I actually pulled it. So yeah, I mean the score, it's memorable to me. It's not as iconic as the big hitters, but yeah, I gave the music a 8.
All right, Kenneth.
I gave it a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, to me, the rest of the movie wasn't nothing but little excerpts from that song that Alex was talking about, and I liked the song, but at the same time, it just didn't have the impact that the stuff from The Burning had or any of the other slashers and stuff like that. You know, it's not one of those things where it's like, as many times as I've seen Sleepaway Camp, I probably would not pick out the music from Sleepaway Camp versus other movies that are out there. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't do it for me. It was all right. I gave it a 4.
Okay. I'm with Alex. I gave it an 8. I think it's super solid. I feel like the music always fits. I'm never taken out. Sometimes I get taken out by music in a movie, and for me, I think the music does best when I actually don't even notice the music by itself because I'm so enthralled with the movie that the music just blends in. That's what happens with Sleepaway Camp. I always feel like I'm inside the movie, and the music never really bothers me. And that opening theme song that does play over the credits, I really, really enjoy. So, scare factor, Jay, where you at?
Scare factor, I gave a 5. In retrospect, maybe a little bit more. I keeps coming back to this, but the ending scene is very disturbing. Everything else was just kind of standard slasher fare. Like, it's not really scary. It's like the end scene is super disturbing and the kills are fun, but I wouldn't really classify this as scary per se. So I just kind of gave it a 5 for that. But that's something I could dive in deeper and possibly change my score on.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, for someone who doesn't really get scared really at movies and stuff, and I definitely didn't watch this young enough, I definitely gave it I did give it an 8, and I definitely think I did that because it has a lot of shocking moments in a way, and a lot of things that are unnerving, whether it be the Judy kill or even like the kid's head rolling off her lap at the end, or the end scene in general. Even like the beginning with like the boat, nobody really touched on that, like the boat killing the kid and that gay guy. So it was like kind of like everything about it is kind of scary or unnerving or like, okay, what am I watching here? And the end shocker, I think the scare factor is definitely an 8, even though we're watching a movie with a bunch of kids, which definitely makes it harder to be scared.
All right. Kenneth?
I gave it a 5. I mean, it was all right. The end of it was disturbing, but other than that, I mean, it wasn't scary to me. It was just, my entertainment score is higher because it was entertaining. It wasn't really scary. It was just more entertaining. I felt like I was watching, one of those, I think somebody said it earlier. I think I was watching one of those fucking, summer camp comedies with killing in it. I mean, that's kind of the way I felt about it. I was more entertained than scared, so I gave it a 5.
Gotcha. Okay. I gave it a 6, and because as a slasher, my problem is when the killer is killing people that recently just did something bad to someone, it's hard for me, like, it loses scare factor, because if they're good people that die, then it's like, oh my god, he's so vicious. But when it's people that were just bullying someone, it's hard for me.
Fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, fuck them. As someone who's been a victim of bullying, I'm just like, yeah, fuck them, let them die. And that's, so when people die in this movie, for the most part, the only people I felt bad for were the 3 kids in the sleeping bags, and now Alex has convinced me to fuck them also, so they can die. But I will say that because of that ending being so deserving, I have to give it something slightly above average, so I gave it a 6. All right, we're down to our last 3 categories. Jay, how did you feel about the entertainment of this movie?
Oh, I gave it an 8. Absolutely entertaining through.
I like how he said an 8 like it was a 10.
No, well, I mean, like, it's just
sorry.
shut It's good. I'm done.
He got rid of his brand new mic.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I'm
God.
gonna sell it for Coke and Denzel Washington pictures. I gave it an 8. It was super entertaining through and through. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it was very entertaining to me, and so I gave it an 8.
All right, Alex.
This one, that one.
When I have shirts and seek out not one but 4 interviews of the 2 main stars of the movie, I've interviewed Angela Baker and her brother Ricky twice, both of them, on our show. And, I met them both and things like that. Or no, I just met Ricky. And hung out with him in a bar and got him thrown out of Monster Mania because he never went back to sign autographs. Yeah, that means it really impacted me to the point where I'm way into this, and I'm just wondering why there's no figures of these people or anybody released of this movie. And I've watched it about 30 times. I watch it every single summer. I try to watch it more than once in a summer. So that is a straight up 10 to me. So that all those criteria mean that I absolutely love it, and it's definitely like a top 20 horror movie for me. So entertainment is top notch.
Yeah, if someone at some point down the road was like, take a podcast and give me the 10 movies you think represented their career, Sleepaway Camp would be on there for Skeleton Crew. So much so that when Skeleton Crew was ending and I was at a horror convention, I got Felissa Rose, who played Angela, to say a goodbye for the Skeleton Crew. And in fact, one of the big things me and her talked about was the story of how she met her husband, which I learned about from the Skeleton Crew, because no one had really talked about it until the Skeleton Crew. And her husband is the guitarist for CKY.
Yep.
And he used to wear the Angela Baker in scene shirt, and he also had it for a sticker on his guitar, and someone told her, and they ended up getting married and having kids, and they're still happily together to this day. And she told that
That's
story on the
awesome.
Skeleton Crew, and it's awesome. She's one of the nicest fucking people
Ever.
I have ever met. She remembered mine and Reese's name the entire weekend. Every time she saw us, she would scream, "Hey, Jerry Reese, hey, come over." Like, she, got it to the point where she was introducing us to Caroline Williams. She was, she was, everything. She was awesome. And I just want to bring that up since we're, he's had 4 interviews for actors from Sleepaway Camp on the Skeleton Crew. So you definitely need to check those out. But let's move on. Kenneth, entertainment.
I gave it an 8. I thought it was great. I was really entertained by it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just because a movie isn't scary to me or something like that doesn't mean it's not entertaining. And when I watch it, I'm entertained by it. I'm in the movie. I'm enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those movies that I can put on and enjoy it like I enjoy some of the other movies that I enjoy from different time periods. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just it's one of those movies that I don't have to be 100% engrossed in to still be entertained and enjoy having it on the TV. You know what I'm saying?
Feel you.
So and that kind of makes me put a little bit go back and wish I could change my score in retrospect for the next category.
Yeah. So I'm at a 9. The movie's super entertaining. The comedy's fun. The mystery of the killer is great. The atmosphere and pacing is just fantastic. It's so easy to stay engaged with this movie. So now we move into its sister category, rewatchability. Jay?
Rewatchability is a 9. I've watched this movie 4 or 5 times now since the first time I watched it, and it just never stops being entertaining. The end doesn't hit as hard if you've watched it recently, but it's been almost a year since I watched it last, and when I watched it for the show, the end definitely still has that impact, even though it's coming. Just that scene is just so unnerving. I know I've said the same thing a million times over, but I just can't. We just
don't have that much of vocabulary, right?
How good? Yeah, that's when I'm not kidding, man. When I don't write down things, mumble like this. It's fucking ridiculous. Go watch one of my YouTube reviews that I script out ahead of time, and then watch this. I have the vocabulary. I'm an kind of guy, and it's really upsetting to myself when I'm trying to have a intelligent discussion about a loved horror movie. But yes, rewatchability is a 9. I could watch this one at least once a year and not be upset at that at all.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, I don't have the vocabulary to really ever articulate anything about this movie to show what I feel about it, but I guess I'll just do it by numbers. Rewatchability is a 10 to me. Like I said, since I was lucky enough to walk into Best Buy one day around 2004 or so, and I just saw this weird box set or this like first aid kit type thing that was just sitting there, and it said Sleepaway Camp, and lucky enough, I just didn't know what it was, but I picked it up anyway, brought it home, and I literally have been rewatching this since then, so it's like 14 years every year. I'm sure I watched a lot in the first 5 years compared to making it a summer tradition, so it's definitely a summer tradition. I can never have a summer without it. I love it. 10, absolutely.
All right, Kenneth?
I got it listed as a 7, but in retrospect, like I said, I wish I could put it a little bit higher because it's entertaining and it does have more rewatchability. So, like I said, I mean, I wish I could go back, but I can't. So it's at a 7, but it's definitely in one of those that I can just throw on the TV and just let it run.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I have it at a 9. What I said in entertainment basically applies here. It is such an easy watch. I can watch this at any time, and it's good. And in fact, there are so many different commentary tracks for this movie that I can, throw on a commentary track and listen to. I've listened to it with a commentary track with the director and Felissa Rose, with the actors, with Adam Green, Felissa Rose, and Joe Lynch when they did it for the movie Crypt. And it's one of the funniest fucking commentaries I've ever heard. So this has so much rewatchability because not only is it just a fun, entertaining horror movie, but when you add in commentary tracks, holy shit, it is fantastic. We move into our last category, pop culture. Jay, pop culture.
Pop culture, I gave it an 8. It's not as well known as the other slashers, but it is known at least a lot more than The Burning, especially amongst horror fans, mainly for that ending and the reveal. So that's kind of where I went with that score. There's really not much for me to dive in on that.
All right, Alex?
I don't have as much faith in the horror fans as Jay does. I give it the same thing as The Burning, 5. I don't think people know nearly enough about this as they should. Yeah, I'm sure they know that image at the end and stuff like that, but many people know the image of Cropsey holding up the shearers or whatever that's called. So I don't know. I don't really think it made much of an impact, sadly. This is not a rating I'm happy about giving, but, like I said many a times on this movie, I don't know why it's not up there with the big boys, but it isn't. So I give it a 5.
All right, Kenneth?
I gave it a 9 because, anywhere that I go, for me personally, down here, anywhere that I go that's got anything that has to do with horror, I see it somewhere. I see the image of, Angela with her mouth open, or I see the iconic cover with, the knife with the shoe on it. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I mean, and then on top of that, every single friend that I've got down here, for the most part, unless it's somebody that's just absolutely damn cinema illiterate, it knows Sleepaway Camp. Everybody down here where I live knows it. Yeah. Because it's like, but then again, you also got to take into consideration here. You got to take in that the type of area that you live in, your environment. You know what I'm saying? We live in the woods here. So Sleepaway Camp and Friday the 13th and movies that take place at camps or in the woods or something like that are more prevalent here than they are in other places.
Yeah, I agree. So at first I thought I maybe rated pop culture a little high, especially my reasoning for it. But I gave it an 8. because it's huge in the horror community. It's one of those movies that you know the ending before you've ever seen the movie because so many people talk about it. It's one of those movies that is on that list of movies you have to watch in horror. But the reason I actually gave it a little bit higher and gave it an 8 was because of how I found the movie. So there's a band called Census Fail, Screamo band, and they have a song called Angela Baker and My Obsession with Fire. And I was like, who the fuck is Angela Baker? I had heard, it was off an album, Let It Enfold You, and I was in 9th grade, like, when that album came out, I think. And so I had the album, and I was listening to it, and I was like, who the fuck is Angela Baker? So I jumped on the internet, and I started searching, and I found that it was from Sleepaway Camp. So after visiting a couple of Blockbuster movie galleries, I was able to rent the movie and actually watch it. And in retrospect, she never set anyone on fire, so Buddy from Census Fail, I don't know why it's called Angela Baker and My Obsession with Fire. Should have been Angela Baker and My Obsession with Dick.
I love Dick.
Or curling irons.
Or curling irons. I guess that's the only heat in this movie.
Yeah, I love the sound of that sizzling pussy, man.
Sizzling teenage pussy.
Yeah.
Only in Denmark.
Only in Jersey.
Yeah. So in the horror community, this is a super well-known movie. If you're in the horror community and you've never watched Sleepaway Camp, you're an amateur. You're not hanging out with the big dogs. Okay? If you don't know who Angela is, you at least know you've heard about the ending of Sleepaway Camp. You've had to. There's no way around it. And it does creep out into the main pop culture. Like I said, I found out about it from a Screamo band. CKY, they use the imagery. So it's out there. It may not be mainstream, so I can't give it a 10, but I feel like it's pretty strong. So with that being said, it is time to get into the final scores.
Wow.
Yeah, finally.
Can you imagine if we'd have waited till our normal time? We'd have been like an hour in.
We would be fucked.
Yeah,
starting early was definitely a good idea.
Yep.
You're welcome.
I gave the movie 119 points out of possible 150. Jay gave it 109. Kenneth gave it 110, and Alex gave it 118. What's interesting is Kenneth gave it one more point than Jay, and I gave it one more point than Alex. Right? I think that's very, very interesting. Because on The Burning, no one was that close. It was 96, 93, 102, and 111. But with this one, it seems we were all kind of together on it. And I think that's pretty fucking neat. So that means, rating-wise, Sleepaway Camp is the winner for Best Summer Camp Slasher Horror Movie. With that being said, does anyone like The Burning more than Sleepaway Camp?
No.
Kenneth?
No, as I've done this podcast, I've changed my thoughts on it. I'd actually, when it really comes down to it, I'd rather watch Sleepaway Camp than The Burning.
Okay, because Kenneth told me earlier that he liked The Burning more than Sleepaway Camp, but me and Kenneth both know, and anyone who does a podcast know, you can change your mind as you go through and start talking about it and realizing things you don't see, which is one of the reasons why I make us lock our scores in before we start recording. Once we start recording, you cannot change your scores. We had this happen on the last Horror Coliseum with Sleepaway Camp, with Silence of the Lambs and pop culture, where we had a misunderstanding of what we were doing with Kenneth. And at the end of it, you can change your mind and you can go in there. There are a few things that all of us wish we could go up or down on, but those are our ratings.
Like
you, like me and Kelly.
I wish I could go down. Oh yeah, right. Go ahead.
Yeah. She's old enough now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Before we get out of here, let's talk a little bit more about Sleepaway Camp. Some of the things we didn't really talk about, Alex brought up. we didn't talk about the dreamlike scenes in here that deal with Angela seeing her father and another man, and then her and her brother kind of touching each other, which is very odd. And the death scene in the beginning of it shows that Angela and her brother a boy and a girl are on a boat with their father while some stupid teenagers wreck their boat into that boat, killing one of the children and the father. And we later find out that the child that survived went to Aunt Martha, and Aunt Martha decided to just change the survivor into a girl because she already had a boy.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. This movie, depending on your thoughts on it, either pushes buttons or pushes the envelope. This movie is well ahead of its time, but at the same time could probably not be made today.
Oh, definitely not. Somebody would throw a fucking fit.
Yeah.
The openness of the pedophile in the beginning of it, and everyone's just kind of laughing him off. The question of is it the dangers of as a parent forcing your child to be what you want that child to be instead of letting the child decide is very big in this movie. You could go into deep psychological talks in this movie. We could pull like what we did with Last House on the Left, where we went super deep psychological on the movie with Sleepaway Camp. Easy.
Yeah, Alex, if we went that deep in it, I think Alex would just be like, "All right, I'm out," because he didn't like that episode.
It's that you didn't have the fun factor. So if you go deep and you add me in the equation, like me, my wife, and that Jason mannequin, then
Yeah.
it'll be deep and fun.
And I was just going to say, then I'm going to go super deep.
Yeah, you guys just took it a little too seriously. If you
all the way to my shoulder.
Wow.
Wow.
My ass hurts.
No, I would love to do an in-depth psychological look, but I think you definitely have to read that book I suggested first, because that'll give you way more. I mean, that's like a playground of psychological depth. Yeah, no, there's so many things to this, and that whole thing of her and the kid in the room on the bed, and it's the way the camera's spinning and the way it's all black. And if you notice, when she's having the recollection with her aunt later on in the movie, when she's deciding, I'll name you Peter, or whatever she said to him, or said to Angela to make her a boy, that's all blacked out too. So there are a lot of...
Did you notice, now speaking of that particular one, did you notice that when they're filming that, it sounds like that the aunt is on like a stage for a play?
Well, probably because the emptiness of it all.
Right, exactly. That's what I thought was crazy.
Mhm.
Because like when you see the other scenes with her in the house or whatever else, it definitely doesn't sound like that. But when you get to that, it sounds like they were filming a play.
Yeah.
Out on a stage and stuff like that, which I thought was wild.
Yeah, no, you can go super deep on this. It's great for that reason, too.
And another thing, if you have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, you know about the scene where when Judy dies, and it shows Angela coming into the doorway. It's actually Ricky. So I always wanted to know why that was. And it turns out all those scenes of like Angela's hands killing someone or Angela popping up in the boat, that's all the Ricky. That is all the actor who played Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
He did all of the kill scenes. And they just hid it because they didn't think anyone would really see it because it'd be too dark, especially in the movie theater or on VHS. They didn't think it would matter. So Jonathan Tierson is actually the actor doing all the killing. So he technically plays Angela through all the killings. Except for the last one, which is some random dude who wanted to show his penis on screen while wearing a mask of a little girl. I'm not here to kink shame if that's what you're into.
Actually, in that documentary, in that documentary that I was watching earlier, they said that he cried.
Yeah, he hated it.
He didn't like to do it, and he just did it. And then after that, the one thing that they said, and Alex probably knows about this, is that dude has never been seen again.
Nope, never again.
He doesn't
Ever
go to
in life.
conventions. Nothing.
What is he listed on IMDb?
I don't think so.
I don't know, because he never has done anything. Never came forward with the fact that he was the actor that did it and nothing.
And he was totally fucked up on, I think, whiskey or something like that. Like, he couldn't even do that without being... He was... When you look at that person again, just know that person you're looking at is totally fucking... Doesn't even know where they are.
Yeah, no, it's not listed on IMDb.
Yeah. And the other thing is, the whole thing about Ricky killing everybody, that was also to throw off the viewers, because to have a boy's hands do everything, I guess it's more distinct. If it's a girl's hands, it's sort of obvious. So that, and also the other reason they did that is because you got to remember that Angela is a boy. So you're supposed to see boy features.
Archie Liberace? All he did was Sleepaway Camp. Holy shit. Yeah, there's nothing on IMDb for him. Not even a picture. Holy shit.
It's because he wasn't happy about doing it, man.
No.
I would have done it. My dick isn't big enough, but I would have done it.
Well, considering how cold it was out there, you might not even look like you had one.
Yeah, we'd probably say,
Hey,
well,
that's
she's
probably
a
true.
naked girl. What about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with me.
And they would have been like, why does Angela have such a big clitoris? I don't understand. So yeah, if you guys would like us to do a very in-depth run through a Sleepaway Camp, let us know. Maybe we will. If you're one of the people that won tonight for the giveaways, please contact us so I can send you a picture of what you can pick and I can get your address. And if you want us to do something for Horror Coliseum, if you've got a good enough idea, throw it at me. I'll throw it in the runnings. We have a few other things picked out. It, of course, will be a couple episodes when we do another Horror Coliseum. We do have some pretty cool ideas for episodes going forward. Make sure you check out Alex on the Married with Children podcast. Or run through some back episodes of the Skeleton Crew. Both are fantastic.
Or go look him up on Pornhub.
Or go look him up on Pornhub. He has a porno tape of him and J-Lo.
I'd like to watch that.
Yeah, I would just ignore myself and watch it.
I ignore her. And as always, you can check us out on Legion Podcast Network. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook. We have a Facebook group that's fantastic. On YouTube, we are doing News from the News that Jay handles, and it's fantastic if you want to know what's going on in the world of horror, what's the new releases coming out, what's hitting theaters, what's getting announced on Blu-ray. We're your one-stop shop. We put out one video a week that covers it, so come check that out. And like I said, links are in the description. You'll be able to check out all that, including the stuff for Married with Children podcast. Alex, do you got anything you want to say to the people?
Thank you for putting up with my inebriated, drunken ramblings. That's the same thing. So that's an oxymoron or something, right? It's been a great time, though. These guys are great.
We are.
Glad you're listening. If you're still even listening to me, that means you're super dedicated. You don't need me to tell you that they're good, because you're like 3 hours and 30 minutes into this or so.
Checks in the mail, Alex.
But yeah, no, it's always a great time with you guys. I'm glad I finally got to record with Jay. I don't think I ever did.
Nope.
No, because it was always like some weird movie he didn't want to review or something. Or
No, I want to
No,
review
it
all
was-
the movies. I just have shit that
We
happens.
had some scheduling conflicts for a little bit with his life. So
Oh, okay.
that's all it was.
Well, that was just my guess. I guess I was wrong.
You were wrong. Much like your scores.
I agree with you on that one. But no, this has been great. Two great choices of movies to battle out. You know, I'm glad we didn't throw a Friday in there. It was something more unique than that, summer camp related. It's summertime. It's perfect. It's like June 20. When are you releasing this?
I don't know. Tomorrow?
6th? 5th?
25th.
It's the end of
25th.
June.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the end of June.
We released it the day you heard it.
Exactly. This is live, actually.
Happy
You're-
birthday.
You're listening live, believe it or not. But yeah, thanks guys for having me on. It was a great time, and I'll come back anytime. Hopefully, you want me on again.
Hey, I think we're going to do Psycho 2 at some point, because Jay finally watched Psycho 2 and 3, and now he wants to talk about them, but we've already
Yeah,
done
they're
Psycho
fun.
3, so now we're going to do Psycho 2 at some point.
Oh, good.
So, with that being said, Jay, do you have any parting words?
I do. This
okay,
is
shit.
episode 50, and I just want to say I typically end my YouTube videos by saying I love you and I'll talk to you again soon. I stole that from Boogie2988, but I think it's a wonderful message to end on. And I mean it, guys. Any of you that are actually listening to us now, and you gotta, because the website's saying that you're downloading the episode. You can't just download 3 people talking for an hour and a half and then not listen to it. That'd be insane. So all of you guys that, and ladies, and people, all of you, across all the spectrums that are listening to us, I love you. I love you very much, and I appreciate your guys' support.
Word. Kenneth, you got any last words?
Chicks with dicks.